What is up, guys? It's Adam, aka Marf, and this is Marfoogle News, the only live call-in show on YouTube. Okay, not really. And tonight I wanted to do a little something different. See, a lot of people have been requesting lately, well, more like yelling at me, that Dex doesn't have a bigger part in the intros. In fact, we had a fake statistician, I think that's the word for it, do the percentages of Dex to Adam ratio, and it was 96% to 4. That's pretty bad Dex ratio. So Dex, I wanted to kind of put you on the spot and let you do the intro today.
Really, Adam? No. I mean, like, just on the spot?
Yes. See, I didn't tell Dex, but he is going to be doing the intro tonight. Isn't that right, Dex?
Well, Adam, I don't know, shows about earthquakes. You want an earthquake joke? Would that work?
That would be great. Good on the spot thinking.
Okay. How about this? What did San Andreas say to the Cascadia subduction zone?
I don't know. What did San Andreas say to the Cascadia subduction zone?
It said, "It's not my fault."
Maybe this was a mistake. Do you have any others?
I'm feeling a little weak, but I don't know. What do you call a death that is caused by an earthquake?
I don't know. What do you call a death caused by an earthquake?
Death by default. Nothing?
All right. One last chance to redeem yourself. Otherwise, it's going to be a 98% ratio.
Okay, Adam. The best I can give you is, what do you call a cow in an earthquake?
I don't know. What do you call it?
A milkshake. And that's it.
We'll be right back. You're doing all the intros from now on, Dex.
Why, thank you, Adam.
Everyone give it up for Dex. Welcome to the Dex Show. All right. What is up going, guys? I am Adam, aka Marf, and this is Marfoogle News. If you've never been here before, then you are in for a treat. This is live news, live calls, and then we will get into all sorts of shenanigans. So normally what we do is we actually go over today's news, and then we will be taking your calls. The reason why that's important is because you get a chance to share your opinion on some of the most important mainstream articles out there. Now, people have said, oh, you're covering mainstream. Well, of course we are, because we need to know what they are saying, because there's messages in plain sight that we need to pull out of what they are saying. Now, if you've never watched before, just know you can go to marfooglenews.com. I'll just show you real quick. Once you go to our website, we have taken the time before every episode to load every single article that we cover here. And this is a live show. It's 8:50 p.m. Pacific. And you will be able to click here over on this thumbnail, and what will happen is you actually will see the articles, all of them. You can follow along or go back a year later and read them. They're all down here. So we can cover all of the things from the asteroid tsunami, SWAT, Maryland Medical Company claims to cure HIV/AIDS, all these kind of fun things, tons of earthquakes. We're going to cover that all right now. So, with that being said, first I just wanted to do a real quick mic check for Dex. Dex, are you there?
Hello, Adam. I am here, and hello, Foogle Fam.
Great intro, by the way. I think I'm kind of sweating here. Either way,
nothing like being put on the spot.
Yes, no, you did a great job. I don't know why you know those earthquake jokes, but that's awesome. So, Dex, as far as the earthquake activity, both of us have been following very closely. There's a lot of different things going on right now. Of course, people like our friends over, you've got Copper Tropicals showing a lot of that stuff. And then, of course, Dutch Sense, one of the most famous earthquake forecasters on YouTube, he's been putting out a lot of things like Pacific Unrest after the 6.5. I saw Jeff P. actually put out a post about that on Twitter. I saw that. People are talking about how we are heading into the next month with possible big earthquakes. Every year, there's almost like an earthquake season. And I wanted to talk about that because we have covered from story to story to story to story of the Pacific Northwest and the West Coast, basically locked and loaded and getting ready to just completely explode. I want to talk about Ridgecrest and how it is getting overwhelmingly apparent that people believe there is some sort of volcano building underneath California. Now, that might sound crazy at first, but in the next week or so, we are going to be covering some of the things that go over this, and a lot of people are talking about this. And it's not just, people on the internet. It's actual scientists are looking at this now because of the weird kind of swarms that are going on and things like that. So we'll cover that. I am personally working on getting interviews with some of the folks over at the university. Actually, I shouldn't even say anything yet. Here, and I want to let you guys know that there's plenty of things in the pipeline as far as getting to some of the experts in this field. So that's going to be a thing here soon. Please stay tuned. Thank you guys for spending your Friday night here. It is almost 9 o'clock Pacific, and of course, you guys East Coast are staying up late just to watch, so thank you. I appreciate it. First off, I just want to welcome a couple new people. As always, if you subscribe during the show, you will get a shout-out. John Champion, thank you for subscribing just 6 minutes ago. Central Florida Prepper, much love and respect. Adam, definitely appreciate all the work you and Dex put into each show. I know it can be a bear at times. Hashtag Foogle Fams, hashtag Marfia. Awesome. Thank you so much, Central Florida Prepper. And then, of course, Zeke White says, Marfoogle, my wife can never say your name correct. I can't tell you, when I first started, everyone called me Mark for the first 5 months. People emailed me nonstop as Mark. I rarely get it now, but it was literally every email was Mark. So that's pretty funny. IC Pang 1, I recognize that name. I think you just subscribed just so I would say your name. But if you didn't, welcome to the fam. Thank you for coming. Putin Vlad, that's an awesome screen name. Thank you for joining. Andrea RT, Mutual Kiri Kabiri, aka IC2. Nice to meet you. Thank you for joining the channel in the last 15 minutes. Okay, now that we've got that out of the way, there's a lot of you that have been emailing and texting about seismic activity. So we're going to cover some of that here in a second. First, I wanted to cover this. Sky-high selfies. Japan warn U.S. over military pilots. It says a U.S. F-16 accidentally released a dummy bomb several kilometers outside a bombing range in Japan's northeast on Thursday. Japan's defense ministry called for greater safety measures after pilots took selfies while flying. So these idiots essentially were actually taking a selfie with their phone while flying an F-16. If you have never seen an F-16 fly, they are basically the speed, twice the speed of sound, and those guys should be in a position where they are professional enough not to do a selfie while in command of a plane. This is probably one of the dumbest things I've seen in a long while, and dangerous, but it just shows you, the level that a technology has affected not only just regular civilians, but our police. I just watched a video the other day of a gentleman literally sitting at a T out in the country, nothing around, and a state trooper takes a left. And this guy's on the right side of the road at a T, The state trooper cuts the corner super hard. You can see the trooper is just straight up looking down and turning and straight up hits him. The guy goes up on his hood. He gets off. His bike is ruined. He's like, "What the F are you doing?" And it's so funny because the guy's actually trying to be polite at the same time. He's like, "What the F are you doing, officers?" He's like, "What the F are you doing texting on your phone, officer?" And he was super polite at the same time as cussing him out. That was the first time I've seen that. Obviously, you never know when you get into something like that. But the police officer actually admitted that he did hit him. And then that video, the original one at least, ended up getting privated by this guy. It actually went viral pretty quickly there because at first they weren't going to do anything. They said that they would replace his bike. But dude, if a cop hits you and you have straight up like GoPro high definition video of the guy looking down on his phone, that's pretty damn stupid. Guys like that, it's like they all day, they'll pull people over for being on their phones, but we have to call them out when we see it. People are too afraid to do it. I've seen it a million times. I've seen police and they're not looking at their laptops. They're looking at their cell phones. I've seen it. I've been in trucks that are higher than the police squad car next to me. And it's like, do the same thing. I will say this. I'm a big supporter of police and, I know that they have a tough job, but as far as that, don't be a hypocrite on that because, it's your guys' job to protect civilians and to stop that kind of thing from happening because so many people die a year just because somebody checks a text message. Excuse me. Now it says Japan's defense ministry is to call on U.S. forces based in the country to ensure the safety of their aircraft after pilots from a Marine Corps unit involved in a deadly crash last year were shown taking selfies and reading books while flying. Like, this isn't no, Metro bus. This is a straight up F-16 and the guy's reading The Giving Tree. Like, what the hell are you thinking? It says a U.S. military report on the investigation in the December 2018 crash revealed widespread misconduct among the unit's pilots, including some who had posted selfies from their cockpits on social media. One was shown combing his mustache mid-flight. And another reading The Great Santini. Okay, that is pretty funny. Combing his mustache. Do you honestly see a character out of what is the Top Gun? But what are the two characters' names? The two main characters, Dex, do you know?
Goose and Maverick.
Yeah, Maverick. One of them has like a cop mustache, doesn't he? Or am I getting
think the guy who trained Maverick, the squadron trainer leader, he had the big mustache, didn't he? The older gentleman.
Oh yeah, I think that's what I was thinking of. Just one of those huge cop mustaches. He's probably got one of those curly mustaches that he sits there and plays with and tells women, "I fly an F-16 and read The Great Santini." And I've got selfies to prove it. Pretty dumb, if you ask me. Now, if we go over to the middle E, I can't even say with the est at the end because of this form is getting crappy. Ryan, and yes, I said that differently. If you don't know why I say things differently, please make sure to ask chat. Somebody will explain it for you. Ryan says it shot down infiltrator drones near key port. Not one of ours. U.S. responds. Now, this is coming from RT, so this is from their view. It says, Ryanian Air Defense Forces have shot down a foreign drone near the port city of Masahalar, Ryanian media reported, showing alleged footage of the intercept as proof. The U.S. Central Command said it did not lose any of its UAVs. The drone was taken down on Friday by Ryan-developed Mersad surface-to-air missiles, and the Ryanian Mayor News Agency reported. Alleged footage of the takedown released by the Ryanian side showed a missile being fired, followed by an explosion. So with this, it says the Ryanian official said that the aircraft, quote, definitely belonged to a foreign country, but would not say which. Responding to the news, the U.S. Central Command stated that none of the drones operated by the U.S. military had been lost. Rizrael says another party that could fly a surveillance UAV inside Ryanian airspace declined to comment on the incident. So it would have had to, basically, this is what most people are saying about this, that it had to be Ray-L or Ryan. So both of them are saying they didn't do it. It's most likely one of them, or could it be Ryan actually doing it to themselves so they have something to yell at, us for? I highly doubt that. I think in this case that we probably did fly something, maybe even a new sort of drone, something that's top secret, and then they got caught, or maybe they didn't expect it to get shot down or something like that. I don't know. But that is an act of war, depending on which way it goes, and if they shoot things down, it depends on the airspace. If they flew their drone over here, if it was an armed drone or something like that, that could be taken. It's very confusing when you're talking about drones now, because there's all these new things that they're actually passing as far as that goes. U.S. military ops in Syria getting complicated for Washington. It says the Pentagon is facing tough questions about the U.S. military's role in Syria, and troops are now limited to a smaller, tougher to defend zone and focused on protecting oil fields that legally belong to damn ass cuss. That D word, both, and I messed up there. That D word is one of the biggest filter words. Just a key little helper for the smaller creators here. It says, on October 6th, U.S. President D.T., Commander-in-Chief, announced that the 1,000 soldiers deployed in northeast Syria to fight the Islamic State jihadist group would pull back. It is time for us to get out of these ridiculous, endless conflicts, many of them tribal, and bring our soldiers home, President tweeted. But a month later, the U.S. has more or less the same number of personnel on the ground, which actually some say in our sources that there's actually quite a bit more than what they're even saying. It says the special forces who were withdrawn from the area along the Turk border were replaced with armored units in the area of Deir ez-Zor in eastern Syria, where the country's main oil fields are located. Now, the vice director of the U.S. Joint Chiefs of Staff told reporters Thursday that the, quote, steady withdrawal from areas near Turkey was ongoing and that most equipment had been moved. Sorry, had a bullshit cough there. Either way, latest science shows how the biggest one will unfold in the Northwest. So now off to the earthquakes. Now, this is a big deal. I've talked about it. I'm doing my documentary on this. A lot of people are asking, where is it? Where is it? This is such a complicated subject. It is unbelievable what state Washington, Oregon, and California are in. So if anything that I communicate over the last 2 years gets through people's heads, I hope that the Pacific Northwest gets prepared. This is a subject that people still do not know about. You go and you interview 10 people, and it's about 3 out of 10 now, which is way better than when I started. It was like 1 out of 10 would say that they knew about what Cascadia Subduction Zone was. Now, Cascadia Subduction Zone is capable of a 9.0. In fact, throughout history, it's done a 9.0 earthquake. It is not just a simple little geographically pinpointed earthquake like most. This is a full margin rupture. It's 2 of the plates basically snapping from Vancouver, basically up in Canada, all the way down to the beginning of California. So there's going to be around 700 to 800 miles of land that is going to basically shift. Somebody who is standing in California or the very beginning of California and somebody who's standing in Seattle, both could go as far as 45 feet jolted in one direction. If you don't believe me, ask somebody like Chris Goldfinger, who I've interviewed. It's absolutely crazy. So imagine standing 2 states away from somebody and you both get, jolted 45 feet in one direction. If you think about it, think about 45 feet. That's crazy. I mean, a football field is 300 feet. So 1/6 of a football field, you would be jolted in a single direction when this happens. And that's not only it. In Seattle, Oregon, and even in California, there are all of these unreinforced masonry buildings. So all of the brick buildings that are in Pioneer Square, Seattle has made it seems like 30% of all of downtown is just straight up old 1900s brick buildings or older. All of those are going to crumble like that. We had a 6.3 or 6.4 here back in 2001, the Nisqually earthquake, and that thing tore apart Pioneer Square. And they still didn't reinforce most of those buildings after that. A 9.0 is going to last anywhere from 4 to 5.5 minutes. We're talking about long enough to literally, microwave 2 pizzas and read the paper. And this thing is just going to keep going and keep going. And that's not the end of it. After about 15 to 20 minutes, there's going to be a tsunami. This isn't something that's out of science fiction. This isn't a Rock, Johnson movie. This is real life. As far as all of this, we are waiting any second. Military are preparing. The first responders are preparing. This is something that is incredibly serious. Somebody in New York or in the Midwest, they don't care, right? Because it's not going to affect them. That's wrong. So this is an earthquake that will be felt 2,000 miles away, but not only that, 21 states are preparing, and I've covered this many times. Arizona is actually preparing for a mass exodus of people from California, Oregon, and Washington. All of the states next to the coast states are actually preparing for everybody to be walking towards their state. If you can imagine huge migrations of people, I can just see it now, planes flying overhead and seeing people just migrating 1,000 miles by foot into a different state for help because there's not going to be enough response. Look at Hurricane Katrina, what it did. Look at how the response was. Look at how bad it was. Now think about something 20 times as large as Katrina. You're talking about the entire coastline losing power, having a tsunami hit the whole entire coast. So not only do you have search and rescue, recovery, and things like this going on, you have all sorts of other things going on at the same time. You have power lines down. You have the entire West Coast grid, possibly even further into the states down. You have people that are not prepared, that are starving, crime, looting, murder. I mean, these things are all going to be part of this when it happens. And it's not just one city or 2 cities or 5 cities. It's going to be, all of the cities along the West Coast are going to experience some sort of craziness. So this is something that everybody needs to actually, care about. I mean, as far as the economy goes, they say it could cost millions and millions and millions of dollars. I mean, it could literally send us into a tailspin economically. It could collapse a dollar. That is what many have said that are in this field that actually are, respected. People from Harvard, Yale say that this one earthquake could literally devastate. This is bigger than the big one in San Andreas. They call it the really big one. So just to get that out, I know most of you guys who watch my show regularly know all about it because I've covered it so many times. They have simulations of it, and it's horrific. I mean, you're talking about Japan will get a tsunami as well, and they are actually somewhat prepared for it. We are not. We are on a scale of less than a 2 out of 10 in preparedness, and that's horrible. It says the shaking from a magnitude 9+ earthquake felt in western Washington's population centers will vary depending on the epicenter of the quake. Quote, where the earthquake starts really matters, said Aaron Worth, a research geophysicist for the U.S. Geological Survey, USGS, based out of the University of Washington. It says what Worth and USGS geophysicist Art Frankel found using more than 50 supercomputer simulations is the amount of shaking from a Cascadia subduction zone earthquake will vary depending on the location. The Cascadia subduction zone is a giant 600+ mile long fault that runs from Cape Mendocino, California, north past Oregon, Washington, and Vancouver Island. It's a fault where pieces of the ocean floor known as tectonic plates are stuck to the North American plate. Every 300 to 500 years, the pressure between the two slips. A massive earthquake is the result. We can see a factor of 10 difference in between these scenarios depending on where the earthquake starts. In one scenario, the rupture of the fault starts closer to the Oregon-California state line. In another, the quake starts off the northwest tip of Washington. It's easy to think that a quake starting further away would be better for Seattle, but research suggests that that would be incorrect. In fact, it would be much, much worse. And that's because when the earthquake starts far away from Seattle, that means all those seismic waves have time to pile up on top of each other. So that it's literally they are going to start toppling and building up like a wave. And we're not even talking about the tsunami yet. Time to pile up on top of each other before they actually reach Seattle, and the result is stronger shaking. Now that's from Worth, the expert, and she said, among the scenarios run, the worst shaking factor for Seattle could be 10 times worse than the most mild case where the rupture would start in the plate boundary closest to the city, such as under the Olympic Mountains. We often think of earthquakes originating from one single spot. Like I said, people think of it like a little area. You see it, oh, it was epicentered over here. This is not like this. This is a completely different kind of earthquake. But the Cascadia subduction zone would be more like a ripping of a sheet, a tear, shaking the surface as it goes along, with waves getting stronger, then weaker again, with a quake expected to last from 5 to 6 minutes. This is one of the biggest things anyone will ever see in their life. If you remember where you were for the Japan earthquake, seeing the footage of that water rolling over land, it didn't look real. I think almost everybody knows where they were when they saw that footage, and they just absolutely dropped their jaw. This is going to be not only worse, but our buildings are not prepared for 8.5 earthquakes like they did. They signed checks. They literally wrote checks, and they said, this will be good for our grandkids. Okay, sign it. Done. Pay for it. That's the Japanese culture. They were actually prepared for an 8.6. They did not prepare for a 9.0 because that earthquake that actually caused that 2011 tsunami was not even known about. That was something that was not supposed to happen. They thought they were building it to the best and biggest earthquake that they could possibly have. And that was wrong. In our case, we are not even close to it. In America, we have not put nearly anything towards it. I mean, you're talking about they want to save money, and then wait until after it happens and spend billions of dollars to fix the problem instead of spending, multi millions to fix the issue before it happens. See, the thing is lives don't really matter when, you're trying to save money. That's just an opinion, but it says Seattle has an additional problem, and that is part of the surrounding area sits in a giant basin filled with sediment, which would make the shaking last longer because earthquake energy would radiate and reflect inside the basin, like dropping water into a bathtub. Well, the bathtub analogy is about energy waves on the ground. Those same waves of energy in the water bring another devastation: tsunamis. It's important to see how tsunami waves travel through Washington, said Karina Forson, chief hazards geologist for the Washington Geological Survey, part of the State Department of Natural Resources. It says, in the latest research released this summer from her agency, communities from deep in the Puget Sound to Bellingham are proving more valuable than previously thought based on computer simulations. Tsunami waves originating off in the Pacific could bring 5-foot waves to Seattle's waterfront shoreline. And this is crazy, to more than 10 feet as of the wave energy gathers in Tacoma's Commencement Bay, which is even further away. Forson said when she started showing the animations to people early, people found it highly relevant. Says, quote, I think it hits home because on this level, they can pick out where they live. This is a scary thought because they are starting to do all of these simulations. They're starting to show people what it's actually going to look like compared to just like, oh, we're going to have this. They see, oh, it's going to be a 9.0. And, oh, we're going to have a tsunami. Now they've done maps. So there's walk and run maps. We've covered this before when they came out with one of the first ones in Oregon. Essentially, this town in Oregon did a map, and they're posting it all over, and it's a run or walk map. So when the earthquake happens, and it will happen, they say basically on that map, if you're here, you need to run. If you're here, some of the maps, by the way, one of the towns says you basically have no chance. Find somewhere high. They say you're not going to be able to outrun it unless you're in a car. And guess what? When it happens, it's going to screw up everything. All the power is going to be gone. Stoplights are going to be gone. Everybody's going to be confused. It's going to be crap. You basically have 15 minutes to get up and high. And by the way, if you guys are watching on the West Coast, please know your surroundings. If it does happen at any time, know a building nearby that you could get up at least 10 stories, 12 stories high. We have no idea how high this thing is going to be. So go as high as you possibly can. Know where all the buildings are and, know where to go. As far as these walk-run maps are scaring the crap out of people because they realize, hey, my house is here and it says that I'm not going to be able to outrun the tsunami. Even if I ran as fast as a human can possibly run, there are places that you cannot outrun the tsunami. There's also places that it says, you can walk and you can go this far, or you have to walk up this far to get away from the thing. All of those are even inaccurate. Now, even just 5 months later, they are finding out that this will be far, far worse than anyone has ever imagined. Now, all of the original scientists, and none of them are disagreeing on this, they're all coming back around. And by the way, this is one of the things in science that we've seen that nobody disagrees on. There's no scientists fighting. Usually there's one party saying, oh, it won't happen for this, or it won't happen. Everyone is in agreement that this thing is going to be horrific. The FEMA quote, the director once said that when this happens, everything west of I-5 will be toast. That was a quote, and of course, people took that and got scared as hell, and then they tried to pull it back. They tried to say, oh, it's not that bad. Well, oh, he said that, but it was saying it in this way and that way. And then later on, people like Chris Goldfinger and all these other experts, few out of 40 people in the world basically in charge of this project, they're all saying the same thing. They all say we need to be more prepared. We need to be faster on it. We need to get everything right now. And with all of this action that we're seeing, all these weird swarms, all the locked and loaded signs that are out there, we need to get this done now, and people aren't doing anything. So after this, we will add something. We're going to try to find something that you guys can go to, a resource for you to basically write your local government and say, hey, this needs to be done, this needs to be taken care of. Forsen said when she started showing the animations, people find it highly relevant, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so on to the next one. Second day of quake swarm rattles Ventura with 70 estimated earthquake events. This is what I'm talking about. It's like earthquake season is about to kick off again. We're going to see 7s, 8s, and hopefully no 9s. For a second day in a row, a series of small earthquakes Friday jolted Ventura, starting in the early morning hours and lasting into mid-afternoon. A magnitude 3 earthquake was recorded just before 2 p.m. near Ventura, hours after more than at least 4 small quakes rattled the area, one of which was a magnitude 3.5 earthquake that struck about 4 miles west of Ventura at about 4:10 a.m. Friday. So again, in California, there's all sorts of stuff going on. Shaking was felt in Oxnard, Port Hueneme, Oakview, Santa Paula, and Carpinteria in Santa Barbara County, according to the USGS. That quake was followed by a 2.9 and a 3.6 that struck at the same time at 5:29 a.m., less than a mile from each other. And a 3.2 that hit at 5:37 a.m., just a little closer to Ventura. So just to let you know, though, too, if you follow Dutch Sense, he actually called this almost to the day and to the area as far as the Unrest. So big ups to Dutch Sense. If you haven't seen him yet, make sure to go check him out. A lot of people debate about, weather. I think people really need to keep track of his predictions because it's pretty nuts. All right. It says there was no reports of injury or damage, obviously, because these were smaller earthquakes. But the fact is, when you see these swarms, they are signs of bigger things to come. 2019 winter forecast, Oregon tsunami threat. It says out of Eugene, Oregon, the Oregon coast is a beautiful divider between North America and the vast Pacific Ocean. And while it can be calm and peaceful, it can also be violent and turbulent. 6 inches of rushing water is enough to knock someone off their feet, and a foot can float most cars. A Cascadia subduction zone tsunami could reach 100 feet. Just to repeat that, 100 feet. Absolutely nuts. And actually, I should... 100 feet! Just wanted to emphasize the 100 there. That's a huge tsunami. That's bigger than Japan, I believe. What would happen if you were along the Oregon coast during a large earthquake? Do you know what to do and where to go? And would you even have time to escape before a tsunami hit? Quote, before you even finish the question, I was already thinking running uphill. So that's what I would be doing, said Kenny Weiss, a visitor to Florence. Michael Hoover, who lives along the coast, thinks his chances are even less favorable. Quote, I just don't think that we would have a chance, We've been waiting for the big one for a long time. Even if the chances of survival seem slim, experts all share the same advice. Quote, so generally, you need to walk or run to high ground as fast as you can. Do not use your car, as it's going to cause an immediate traffic jam. Exactly what I said. Some people will, and they will just be stuck. But walk or run to high ground. Take as many people with you if people are confused. This is what I've said for 2 years now. Just go. If you guys have not watched my earlier videos, so one thing that is absolute, so there is a gentleman who is in charge of basically communicating with the military and FEMA. It's called a liaison. They basically are a military member themselves, and they are in charge of coordinating FEMA and the military. I've personally talked to this person. They said that this was supposed to happen 2 years ago, as of 2 years ago. When I talked to them 2 years ago, they said 2 years ago. So now we are 4 years past when the actual military has thought that it would have kicked off by now. So that is just something that has bothered me every day. I have moved now twice to get out of the inundation zone. The first time I was in South Park, and that place would have literally been underwater. I would have had to learn how to swim better. I mean, that's how bad the first place I was. And he said, you need to move. So we did. This is a big deal. And by the way, featured here, if people are confused, the quote, by the way, was by Chris Goldfinger, who I've interviewed. That interview is up on Patreon from a very long time ago. I interviewed Chris Goldfinger, one of the lead seismologists that is actually one of the most famous. He did the talk, the really big one by the New Yorker. He was the subject of that article. The woman followed him do his research. He goes out on boats. He actually does a lot of the testing out in the ocean. Last time I talked to him, he even offered if I could get down there. We even talked about me going on that boat. So that was something that I would love to do, but obviously it's down in Oregon. It says an Oregon State University marine geologist and geophysicist. He's been studying the Cascadia subduction zone for decades and is well aware of the threat the coastline faces from a tsunami. There's a lot of places, well, not a lot, a few places where no evacuation is possible. There's just no way to get out of there if you happen to be there at the time. And that's an unfortunate reality of where we are. So how do you know if you need to head to higher ground after an earthquake? Well, it says that FEMA Regional Administrator Mike O'Hare shares his advice. If you experience an earthquake that knocks you off your feet just to calibrate it, that makes you unable to stand, that's a good indication of a sizable earthquake that could affect a tsunami of great proportion, and you should work your evacuation plans from there. So basically, he said, get your ass uphill right then. O'Hare also stresses the importance of being prepared, as it could take time before help arrives after a major tsunami. Individuals need to be prepared. They need to remove the apathy, which I think is one of our biggest threats, is apathy today. The government is going to come in and take care of everything. Wow, this sounds like me. The government coming in is going to take time, a lot of time, O'Hare said. There are numerous resources available to help to get prepared for a major earthquake. So I just want to point out O'Hare at FEMA, at Region 10, who I went to the Region 10 facility. If you guys haven't seen that video, I actually, they thought I was some sort of spook walking around. So the security guard came up to the fence. If you haven't seen that video, some of you are here because of that video. I ended up asking him a couple questions. At first, he was trying to see if I was some sort of psycho, and then he talked to me. And that's kind of controversial because he said, "Are you recording?" And I said, "No, technically I was streaming live." It was actually one of the not the proudest moments, but he wouldn't have said the very next things if I wouldn't have said that. It was not right, and I apologized for it. But in that, he said some of the craziest things there. He said that the people that are at Region 10 FEMA, the one that's in charge of the entire response for Oregon, Washington, Alaska, and Idaho, they have bug out bags in their car. The security guard I was actually talking to, who's actually, he's basically employed, has a clearance because they have to have special clearance for that job because it's a military base. He said that he had a bug out bag in his car just in case he had to walk home. He said that they do not have any supplies here. This is the one place, the FEMA Region 10. He says, we do not have supplies here to support. I said, will they have to have help from out of state? He said, absolutely. And O'Hare is actually agreeing. He's saying it's going to take time. He is straight up telling you that the government is not going to save you from this. Everyone in the West Coast is going to be absolutely screwed. So if you do not have your prep, then you need to have it now, now, and now. Yesterday, 2 weeks ago, a month ago. And if you have to take your time and do one thing at a time, spend $2 a week, then do it. Get one can of food, because people are going to go nuts. This is going to be bigger than the world has seen. This is going to be, Japan was different. Japan was prepared. Japan had all their buildings. This is going to probably be just as bad as India 2004. That was absolutely horrific. But that wasn't even a metropolis with millions of people. That was hundreds of thousands. I think 250,000, something like that, perished in that. It was an absolute horrid thing. Tourism completely got wiped out. The local people, their buildings were not made for any kind of earthquake. They were totally wiped off of the planet. It was horrible. It took years to clean that up. So get ready, because it doesn't matter if you don't know when it's going to happen. If you live on the West Coast, it's going to. And people are telling you the government's not going to save you. Just like a government's not going to save you if you have a blackout, if the power goes out, or if we have EMP or coronal mass ejection, they're not going to save you. If we have a hurricane, there's certain things, there's smaller disasters, but we're talking about something that man has never seen before. So I just have to get that through everybody's head. We're going to be covering multiple things. We have multiple resources that we're going to be putting out in the next couple weeks. This is earthquake season, so please get your stuff ready. Asteroid tsunami. Why 40,000 mile per hour Pacific Ocean bound rock could devastate U.S. coast. And so many people have talked about these things. There are millions of small rocky bodies in the inner solar system known as asteroids, and their impact events have played a significant role in shaping many planets, including Earth. That's what they say, at least. NASA is constantly watching space, categorizing any near-Earth objects, or NEOs, as potentially hazardous objects, or FOE, or FA, if you pronounce it correctly. if they could pose a threat to life on Earth. However, cosmochemist Dr. Natalie Starkley is still concerned. Along with many other scientists, by the way, I've covered all of the big name people that are really concerned about this for whatever reason right now. It says she put out forward a theory in 2018 book, Catching Stardust, where she questioned what would happen if a huge rock smashed into an open space of water. She warned if we fail in the future to protect the planet from space threats, then we could expect a large asteroid or comet impact to wreak havoc on the Earth's surface, resulting in major global change and high death tolls. Quote, it wouldn't just be humans that would be affected, of course, but many other Earth species too, obviously. A comet or asteroid impacting one of Earth's oceans would result in huge tsunamis that could utterly devastate surrounding coastal regions. This is something that they have put out in tons of predictive programming. They've talked about it in different, college. You're talking about professors writing papers on this. You have tons of experts saying that it's just a matter of time. And then you have to look at what they're doing. They're doing like OSIRIS-REx, the Hammer mission, Hyper Asteroid Mitigation and Emergency Response Vehicle. It's basically a nuke on a missile that they're going to launch up and try to hit the thing out of the sky like out of Armageddon. They are really and seriously looking at how to deflect asteroids. They're going to take Didymos, the two asteroids that are basically gravitationally attached to each other. They are actually going to use that as their test, and they're going to put an accelerant or something like that on one of them. They're going to do some different things. The Japanese Hayabusa did some explosions on the side of one. If you look, you've got elites basically starting a government in the sky, in space. We've talked about this many times. You've got all of the most elite people you can think of getting into the space business and trying to get to the moon or Mars. Now, obviously, a good chunk of people are saying, space doesn't exist. That's the lie. That's fine. I would rather know all of the information and judge on everything and, I just wonder, though, because they are seriously trying to get off of this planet, and, we'll see, I guess. I think the skeptics will have to see for themselves. I think we all will. None of us have actually been to space, which is kind of crazy. That's the one thing that I can be 100% confident that we don't have any astronauts watching the show right now. So none of us can really say if the Earth is this or Earth is that, whatever else. So who knows? Getting off of the asteroid tip, everything else, the earthquakes, I just have to say, when we do talk about these things, everybody pushes back. Nobody wants to talk about these things. They're taboo. People don't want to talk about, death, dying, disasters. But here's the thing. Shouldn't we get out the word that everybody should be prepared? These things are survivable. A tsunami would be survivable if you knew right away if something happened big to go. Even when the explosion happened outside my window and lightning, sorry, but the show wasn't important. I went, oh my gosh. What did I say? I said, what the fudge? Yeah, I was kind of a weenie, but in one way, I went up directly to my daughter and I said, get up. And she saw the flash and she told me that. She goes, whatever. I mean, it was literally feet outside of her thing. If you guys knew my setup here, there is a blackout curtain over actual physical blinds, and the flash went through all that. That's how crazy that flash of lightning was. But the thing is I said, screw the show. I just said, go. And that's how I've been. I'm not an expert in all fields. I'm not an expert in prepping. I do rely on advice of certain family that are experts in planning and preparation. So I never claim to be a teacher and to teach you guys this. But one thing I can teach you is to teach yourself to get ready and to get all these things ready. There's so many survivable things. Earthquakes are survivable. Get some simple things done. Get some simple things handled. What if you died of starvation after surviving a huge 5-minute earthquake? Would that not make you feel stupid? Sorry, it would make me feel stupid. It's like you survived 5 minutes, buildings falling all over the place, you getting missed by huge 5,000-ton rocks. and then you die of starvation or a lack of water, that's just plain dumb in my opinion. And it will happen. I just wanted to read this one last part that I noted here. It says, it's anyone's guess how many millions of people would be directly or indirectly affected by a tsunami radiating out from an impact location in the middle of the Atlantic or Pacific Ocean. It says, if we just imagine the ripples radiating out from a pebble being thrown into a pond with nothing to get in their way, the ripples would travel as far as the pond's edge. So think about that. The entire ocean, if one hit in the middle, then it would just go everywhere, and the entire coastlines would be devastated. All right, let's get off this. We're going to be talking about Assange here in a second. So we are going to talk about that. First off, welcome Bobby Hopkins. If you are a new subscriber, as always, if you subscribe during the show, you will get a shout out. And if you subscribe in the replays, you'll usually get one at the beginning of the show. Moonlight Sonata, thank you so much. I appreciate that. Make sure to write a sentence or maybe a Moonlight Sonata. Thank you so much for that, though. Zach K, welcome to the fam. I really mean that. Mods, make sure to welcome those guys. Kim S, thank you so much. I appreciate that. You can always write a message there. Atomic News, thank you, Marf, for all your great info. Well, thank you, Atomic News. Thank you for putting out your videos. I appreciate your channel as well. Prepper Ilea, let's see here. Can't see what it says there. Prepper Ilea, 335 million years ago, all of the continents were connected. Pangaea was a supercontinent that existed during the late Paleozoic and early Mesozoic eras. It began to break apart about 175 million years ago. Huge quakes. I think about that when they show the Pangaea, and the reason they know that, by the way, or at least the reason they say they know that, is because they see the same dirt. They've done tests on dirt that are across oceans, and it's just at the edge. So at some point, those lands basically disconnected. It's pretty crazy, some of the science that they've put into that. Reckoner, thank you for subscribing 34 minutes ago. 43 minutes ago, 228 Chris B, thank you for joining. I appreciate you. Brett Butler, great job, whether it's on a tractor the next day or live at night. I always watch and love the show. Stay true, be vigilant, be prepped. And boom, 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 let me hear you say, Wayu. Wayu. Moonlight Sonata says, so glad for this platform. Thank you. Janimania, thank you. I appreciate that. Again, make sure to write a message or say hi. And then Jonathan Wilcox, thank you for subscribing. And then David Wilcox, thank you for subscribing as well. Appreciate that. Okay, now to get back into it, Susan Donahue, I did see you just scroll by. Get prepped up, get prayed up, and please pray for humanity. Put on the full armor of God. Thank you, Susan, as always, and the message couldn't be any better. Shelly Banks, thank you for subscribing about 2 minutes ago. Welcome to the fam. All right. Assange may die in jail, his father warns. So we all know about the founder of WikiLeaks. It says the father of the founder, Julian Assange, said Friday he worried his son would die in prison after 9 years of, quote, persecution for daring to reveal U.S. war crimes. John Shipton told reporters in Geneva that he had visited his son in a British prison 2 days ago and needed to, quote, face the bitter truth that he may die in jail. This is not the bitter disappointment of a father. It's simply fact, he said. What do you guys think of Julian Assange? Give us a call at 224-400-MARF. I would love to hear your opinions on this. Obviously, Julian Assange is a huge debate in this field. Some people like him. Some people think he's a hero. Some people think it's kind of the same thing. You see a lot of people in this niche especially that actually have connections with him. I've actually met quite a few people that were personally in contact with Julian Assange. Not saying that I ever did, but I know other YouTubers that actually connected with him. I'm trying to remember. The Truth Never Disappears. What's her face? She actually, for whatever reason, Julian Assange actually used her video for something, and then after that, they ended up talking. So the guy, I mean, he was pretty much a recluse, kind of like Edward Snowden, and Edward Snowden, another guy who kind of did the whistleblowing and then kind of went off and was held in. But Julian Assange supposedly got arrested and is sitting in this jail, right? It says the 48-year-old whistleblower is currently being held at a top security British prison since April after police sensationally dragged him out of the Ecuadorian embassy in London, which we've all seen videos of that. Celebrities like even Pamela Anderson visiting him. Chew. Skywatcher 53, Adam, you are just awesome. That's all I have to say. Thank you so much. Woman of Wonder, happy Friday. So happy you were feeling better, Marf. Shout out to all the Foogle fam. Thank you. Appreciate that. What do you think of Julian Assange? We should do a vote. If you want to go to @Marfoogle and tell me what you think about him over there, that would be awesome. SWAT team bomb squad respond after dead woman bomb threat found in Simi Valley home. A SWAT team and a bomb squad responded to a neighborhood in Simi Valley Thursday after a man arrived home to find a dead woman inside his home, along with a sign claiming there was a bomb in the building. What in the world is this? Dex, this is kind of an odd story here. Now, you've put this one in here. What is this all about?
Well, I mean, this is just crazy. You come home and this is what you find, right? So you call 911 and you bring out the responders and, there's a deceased person in your home and there's a note saying that there's a boomer in your home. That's kind of crazy, So, he arrived at home to find the woman suffering from some sort of traumatic injury, possibly dead in the house, he said. He called 911 and firefighters first responded to what appeared to be a medical emergency.
This is like something you would see in a movie. This is like a HBO dark comedy. Like you come home and there's some woman strapped, it says, with a note on her saying I'm a BOMB. Do you think that this could be some sort of weird stuff? And where was this? Simi Valley? Where is Simi Valley? That's not California, is it?
Yeah, that's in California.
So Simi Valley, remember yesterday the same time? I don't know. This was Thursday, right? This was yesterday. Do you know yesterday that Homeland Security came with Bearcats? We covered this in last night's show. The woman caller said she saw the Bearcat coming in and confiscating, bang bangs, which is pretty crazy. If you guys don't believe me, watch last night's show, or actually, we link the Twitter on the website. I don't know if we put that on there.
Yeah, I don't know if we did or not, but that was that tweet or that event. They were going in and confiscating weapons, as you said, but they actually rolled in the Bearcat. It was a big deal in Queens. Nobody had seen that before, like a military action.
Yeah, that one was weird. I mean, all these things that are going on, this is just the beginning. I bet you in the next month we're going to see some more stories just like this. This isn't normal. This is something part of some sort of bigger. And this might even be some sort of cover up and too much got out there. And that's just weird. I don't know. That's super, super weird. It says fire officials found a woman on the ground suffering from some sort of injury, officials said. She was pronounced dead at the scene. So they actually found her when she was alive. It says it's unclear how the woman died, but Shorts noted that there was a great deal of blood at the scene. Quote, as the event progressed, personnel at the scene found script written all over the wall indicating there was a boom inside the residence. This sounds like some sort of Charles Manson thing. Like, what if this is related to something like a new Charles Manson? You know what I mean? Where they painted with blood on the wall or whatever. It says officials evacuated nearby neighbors and summoned a SWAT team and a boom squad to the scene. Now, What if they came with a bearcat to California? Like, what if, I don't know. This doesn't make sense. It was not clear whether the dead woman was known to the resident who discovered her. This does not make sense. Something about this is super, super weird. This is from KTLA. I'm just going to go to the original story so you can see that this is like straight up legit from KTLA 5 morning news. This is just super, super weird. And is that the SWAT? That's a bearcat. Deadly bomb scare. I think there's something else going on far bigger than what we know. Yesterday, the same time. And remember, we covered about a week ago that the leader of IS, if you know how to spell, said to light forest fires in California and in the US and in UK. Now, I just want to see right here. Look, where's this Twitter that we did last night? Let's see. Yeah, if you actually look at this, bearcat, New York. What? That's weird. How did you find that last night, Dex?
Just search for Queens and
That's right.
Bearcat. That'll probably come up.
That's weird. Now nothing is coming up. That's weird. From anyone, anywhere, I've got it there. This is what you searched last night, and it came right up. Do you think that they wiped that?
Yeah, they might have. I can get you the link if you go to.
So if I type in Queens, tons of stuff will show up. Let me just type in bearcat. Look at this. This is it. This is ICE, or they say it's ICE, using a bearcat while they remove people from apartments. See, this is how they turn stuff. So somebody else said that this was them removing weapons. The left said that they're using that's ICE. This was Homeland Security. This is just something. Look at this. Certain criminal apprehensions. One person was taken into custody. Homeland Security operation in Queens. Okay? Now, the same day, this is during the day, November 6th, we had this other event happen. In fact, we had this event happen, right? Same kind of vehicle shows up, and it was a deadly bomb scare. It's just weird. I'm sorry. We will follow this. I want to talk to a couple of people. There's somebody in particular I can find out some more stuff about that. That's just something's going on there. And I would love it if you guys called. Look at that. Somebody says we're buffering. Of course we are. Something's up with that. That's my cue to keep moving. First case of dengue spread by SEX confirmed in Spain. Madrid, out of Spanish health authorities, confirmed Friday a case of a man spreading dengue through intercourse, a world first for a virus which until recently was thought to be only transmitted by mosquitoes. The case concerns a 41-year-old man from Madrid who contracted dengue after having intercourse with his male partner who picked up the virus from a mosquito bite during a trip to Cuba. So that means that the thing is morphing. His dengue infection was confirmed in September, and it puzzled doctors because he had not traveled to a country where the disease, which causes severe flu-like symptoms such as high fever and bloody aches, is common, she added. So that's not cool. So apparently this thing is morphing. You guys can go into this if you want to read the rest of this. This is apparently they are looking into it, that this thing's transforming into a sexual transmitted disease. That's not good. Maryland medical company claims to have cure for HIV/AIDS. Well, some of us have said that they've had it for a long time, that they're just obviously there's a lot of money in those drugs. If you remember back in the Magic Johnson days, you had to be a multimillionaire or you died. My father died of AIDS. He had HIV, and if he had money, he would still be here today. That's a straight up fact. Back then, people didn't know anything about it. In fact, I did not even live with my father. He was almost a whole state away, and they had me, the only kid in, I want to say, first grade or maybe it was second grade, raise my hand to go to the bathroom, and I had to go to the principal's bathroom on the other side of school all of second grade because one of the parents found out that my father had AIDS, which he got, and he was one of many. He actually got a big settlement, and it was like basically too late by the time he had passed away because he got it through a injection at a hospital. So he lasted about 2 years after he got HIV, and it was just real quick. But that's how little they knew about this back then, or at least the public, right? There's a lot of weird things around this. You had to be rich or you had to be absolutely extremely, extremely wealthy to even survive. Now they have it down to where, the stuff is almost affordable. And if you get HIV, it's not a death sentence. People can have it for, however long. Back then, it wasn't like that. It was literally, you were handed your death sentence. What do you guys think? I would love to hear your opinion on this. This group says they have it. We also have groups that say they have cancer cures, but, who knows what's really going on. It says the company said the therapy AGT103T is a genetically modified product made from a person's own cells that focuses on repairing damage to the immune system caused by HIV. Quote, our aim is to treat HIV disease with an innovative cell and gene therapy that reconstitutes immunity to HIV and will control virus growth in the absence of antiretroviral drugs. So one thing I want to say about this is if this is true, if this fixes the damage it does to the immune system, doesn't that mean that it could fix damage to our cells, period? Like, this could be the wonder age drug. That's pretty crazy. Dex, wouldn't it be the same thing? I mean, like, if your cells were being replaced or fixing themselves, wouldn't that be making you the healthiest person ever if you didn't have HIV?
Yeah, that sounds like, a futuristic, management for your body. Like when things go wrong, it just starts curing itself, which I guess in general, your body tries to do that naturally with its own immune system. But finding new ways to create that in the body to fix problems, that's pretty amazing. And I'm sure we're going to see a lot of new innovations like this come out, or maybe in this case we have already had it and we just didn't want to say anything, and now we're announcing it. I don't know.
That's pretty crazy. Snafu Snap says Eazy-E was murdered with AIDS. I've seen a documentary that actually kind of goes over that theory. Yeah, people back then, it was just like, boom, you were gone within 2 years or less. It was pretty nuts. Okay, let's see here. It is officially time for the weird. And I don't know if we have the weird. Do we have the weird? 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 No.
You want to know what's going on?
No.
What's...
No. 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 Apparently, I forgot to put the weird back on, so that's okay. We will just do it the old-fashioned way. These stories are now going to be weird, and then we're going to get to the calls. Popeye's chaos. Angry Americans fight over coveted chicken sandwich. So this is under the category of weird news. And let me just tell you, if you have not heard about this story, just stick through it. This is absolutely nuts. So, Dex, this is another one that you brought to my attention. Pretty freaking crazy. So,
yeah, well,
can you explain what happened?
It is nuts. Yeah. They actually launched and this is crazy. I don't even understand how this happens, but they launched a chicken sandwich back a few months ago, and it was a big deal. They went out on social media and they told everybody, "Hey, we've got this chicken sandwich and it's better than Chick-fil-A. Come eat it. Come try it." Apparently, Chick-fil-A has the best chicken sandwich, and everybody flocked in to buy this chicken sandwich from Popeyes. But they ran out. They didn't make enough. They didn't procure enough of the food to actually supply it, and they ran out immediately. And it got to a problem where people were showing up, standing in line for hours, and then they would run out, and you have angry customers. So then a few months has gone by now, and now they relaunched the sandwich, apparently with a lot of, inventory or supplies to make the sandwich. So people are still flocking in and creating these massive lines, and in this case, in this video example here,
oh my gosh, the guy
they are fighting in the drive-through. Isn't this nuts,
dude? We're playing the video right now. The sound isn't going, but the person is scraping their car, doing $1,000 worth of damage. Oh, she's about to get punched in the face for that sandwich. I cannot believe this. They are literally damaging their car to get the sandwich. Like, this is nuts. I'm going to play this again with sound real quick so you guys can see how chaotic this truly was.
From neighbors, the flowers, the latte, which is a dry version of the mozzarella, and then all the produce. I prefer to go the farmer's market. Yeah. I like pizza to be more crispy, more crunchy, some texture on it. So that's why I lowered the temperature and I cooked it for more time, 2 minutes and a half, because I want the pizza to be sturdy. So when you pick up a slice, to me,
that it doesn't flop.
That's what I don't like personally. There's nothing wrong. I don't want to start a war.
No, it's very personal.
The styles I really want. This is my style. This is what I like.
Yeah.
This is my family. Is it that way? Yeah. And that's what I want to give people.
Is it that worth it? This guy's about to rob him for his car because he's closest. Oh my gosh, this is absurd. Dex, this is the craziest thing I've ever seen over a damn chicken sandwich. I mean, like, this is nuts.
Yeah, absolutely, Adam. And I actually, it's worse than this. This is just one example that we could actually show on the air.
Somebody died?
And oh yeah, somebody's died. They've been shot. An older woman has been body slammed by an employee. There have been numerous fights. There was a racial incident. So there's a lot that has gone on over a chicken sandwich. It's insane. So, we can't show everything that was compiled in this particular article. So I would recommend those of you go to the website, click on this article link, because when you see the actual article, there's a lot of tweets that are in there compiling these videos. And I just can't get over the fact, if this is what civilization has come to over chicken sandwich, what's going to happen when the power goes out?
Okay, do you understand what he's saying? And like, on a more serious note, this is so incredibly serious. This man was fatally stabbed over a chicken sandwich. Imagine, this is just a really tasty sandwich, and like, all jokes aside, I totally want one now. Might have to fly out tomorrow, might have to stop the show, might have to sell my gear to get the sandwich. Now that I've seen it really is that good, I might actually have to start a different job somewhere else where there's a Popeye's chicken. But seriously, if this is what happens about a new chicken sandwich, think about what Dex just said. If the power goes out, we lose all power. I can't even imagine where the American people will be, or no matter where you are, if that power goes out, if this is where civilization is, we are absolutely screwed. I mean, this is some scary stuff. Imagine if there was only a couple chicken, like no chicken, period. Just say there was only a couple, a couple chicken sandwiches left, period, and there's 100 people fighting over it. It would get a whole lot worse. It says South Carolina man, McDonald's sweet tea came with weed inside. A South Carolina man who went to McDonald's for a sweet tea says he received a little extra herbal substance on the side. The Island Packet reports Parrish Brown went to McDonald's on Hilton Head Island and asked for a sweet tea with light ice and extra lemon. Light ice and extra lemon. Brown now believes extra lemon was code for marijuana. Since he found 3 bags of weed in his cup, he says he only realized it once he was high as a kite. Brown says he had never had marijuana, so he didn't recognize the taste. He says he paid regular price for the items. Beaufort County Sheriff's Office spokesman Major Bob Bromwich says an investigation is ongoing. But of course, that was before they drank the tea. Now the investigator has forgot to finish the investigation, and now they are on a road trip down to Popeyes to get themselves one of the new chicken sandwiches. All right. Lobster man rescues deer trapped in water off Maine coast. Now, when I first heard Lobster Man, I actually thought that this was somebody with those weird lobster hands, but apparently it's not. That's what I thought when I thought Lobster Man, but that's actually their names, I guess. A Maine lobster man hauled in an unusual catch 5 miles off the coast. Ren Dorr says he was setting traps when he saw a young deer Monday morning. He says the deer had given up swimming and was being carried further offshore. He and his crew hauled the 100-pound buck aboard. Having a wild animal in a confined space could be trouble, but Dorr told the Bangor Daily News that the deer was so tuckered out that he had laid right down on the ship like a dog. He says it took half an hour to return to Harrington, where the deer was set free. Dorr says that he had seen deer swimming before, but this was different. He says that if he and his crew hadn't intervened, the deer would have been a goner. So that's at least some positivity after this craziness with
Adam,
the chicken.
if you actually click on the AP link at the top, there's a good picture there you can see. That's a safe site.
Boom. Oh. Guess you could call it I'm trying to come up with a clever pun on words here. Look at the little tiny horns. The little tiny horns. Let's see. Okay, I'm going to leave it up to chat. Caption this photo. Caption it right now. And then hopefully it will pop up right here and everybody will leave a clever caption. All right. Here in a second, I'm going to pull up the other one. 8-foot Bigfoot statue stolen from Florida mattress store. Okay. It says an 8-foot, 300-pound statue of Sasquatch went missing last month from outside Mattress Monsters in Baytown Beach, Florida. It says the hard-to-miss figure, valued at $3,000, was stolen sometime between October 6th and 13th, but the owner didn't report the theft until October 20th, the Boynton Beach Police Department said on Facebook. The store didn't realize it was missing right away due to there being a lot of other large decorations outside for Halloween. There is no surveillance footage of the theft, according to authorities. How do you not notice that your store statue, an 8-foot Bigfoot, is not there? Like, that's pretty dumb. And I really wonder why this thing wasn't chained down. Maybe they, I don't know. Maybe it was the spirit of the Bigfoot.
But how many mattresses does a Bigfoot sell? I mean, I understand the jerky. Like, it sells a lot of jerky, but I didn't realize it would sell mattresses.
Well, I guess, like, doing the egg test, you could just, I don't know. I don't know why, Bigfoot. Why would an elusive animal that nobody ever sees sell a mattress? I just don't get the connection there. But apparently Bigfoot is missing. So if you spot Bigfoot, and we're talking about the fake one, not the real one. If you see the real one, don't call these guys, because they're probably getting a lot of those calls right now. And honestly, they're very sad. They've just lost their $3,000 8-foot Bigfoot. They don't need those kind of calls right now. So again, I bet no one grabbed him. I bet he, along with the investigator from the last case, are on their way to Popeyes to get that new chicken sandwich. Where's my drum roll, Dex? To get the new chicken sandwich. Absolutely horrible. All right. We're going to get the phones open here. The number is 224-400-MARF. Of course, call in if you have any kind of opinion on any of these stories, or if you have documents, you can get them to Dex, and we can show them here live on the show. If you guys want to help support the channel, you can also protect yourself against an EMP. Again, imagine if the lights went out, and this is how people are acting if they can't get the new chicken sandwich. Imagine if there's no power. EMP Shield, along with their company, is actually helping the DoD and the Department of Defense to actually strengthen our grid. This is the first and only EMP and coronal mass ejection protection device, not only for your home, but you can get one for your vehicle. You can get one for your generator. If you think about it, if we have an EMP and your generator doesn't work, then what good is it? If your car doesn't take you to your bug out spot, then what good is it? And if your home doesn't turn on after you get the power back, then what good is it? You can even get one for your ham radio, your solar system, or even your RV. So again, if these are any of your bug out options, then you should check this out. Go to marfooglenews.com/EMP. Let's see here. And then if nothing in the show should be considered legal, medical, or financial advice, the views of the callers can differ considerably and do not necessarily reflect the opinions of myself, Dex, or any of the mods. You should always do your own research and consult with professionals. The internet is full of fake news, so please take everything with a grain of salt. That is why it is so incredibly important that you call in and give your information. You debate us. You correct any stories that we might put out that you know the real answers to. Share your opinions, because that's what we're here for. We're trying to hear everyone out here. That's the whole point. With that being said, if you have not checked out the main channel, is Marfoogle News. Make sure to do so. Obviously, if you have never seen the other channel, a lot of people do not know about it for some reason. Marfoogle News is actually the bigger channel at 144,000 subscribers. I do short broadcasts and edited videos over there, usually around 10-minute videos over there that you can actually share with friends and family. We are about to release 3 or 4 videos in just the next couple days, so make sure to head over there and press the subscribe button. And then again, by the way, on that, you can actually tell people marfooglenews.tv. Marfoogle.news. So just do Marfoogle News with a dot in the middle, and if you share that with somebody, it will automatically go to the subscribe button if they type that in. If you just go to your home computer and go marfoogle.news or on any browser, it will bring you there. If you want to join the Foogle Fam community on Discord, we have almost 12,000 people that are in state groups all over the country. How it works is when you send in to get an invite, it will show you the state groups. So say you're in Dayton, Ohio, then you will select Ohio. You can get into that group. You will meet with other people in Dayton, Ohio, and you will actually see that a lot of these folks are meeting in person, meeting at parks, at restaurants, and they're talking prep, they're talking the show, whatever they might want to talk about. That's what it's all about, because you need like-minded people that do not think this is taboo. Your friends and family think you're crazy for looking at this kind of news, but it shouldn't be. We should be able to be open-minded and talk about anything and everything with each other, and that's how we fix this country. With that being said, make sure to go to marfooglenews.com. You can also sign up for Marfoogle alerts if we or any of the 300 plus military and active and retired military folks say anything. If they give us a heads up that something is going to hit the fan, then we would let you know through that system. Also through that system, we let you know of any kind of appearances I might make, or we also let you know different passwords and things for events. For the Earthing movie, to get the password to watch the full-length feature film, the Earthing movie, you would need to go get the password from Marfoogle Alerts. If you want to check out what we're talking about, go to marfooglenews.com/GT. If you would like to help the channel, a small commission of the ground therapy goes to helping us build this channel. We are trying to build this up and bring 2 more people onto the show. We most definitely need it. And the thing is people think that the bigger we get, the more money we make. Almost all of it, and I explained this last night, we are put in the limited category. Even if you do see ads on the show, we are getting put into the expended inventory. So essentially the fraction of a penny CPM kind of ads. So it's those people that put on the T-Man Commander-in-Chief ads, and they know that it's bad content or whatever. So it will actually technically say not suitable for all advertisers, and then some people can put ads on it if they want. That's the category that we end up in 99% of the time. So the Super Chats, Patreon, and things like that, that does help us. Ground therapy, this is something I firmly 100% believe in. There's been so many different products that have reached out to me, and I have not sold any of them. I have not put an ad out for any of them. I actually started using this because I had intestinal issues and sleep issues. This I believe in. As you can see, with the amount of viewers we have live, I don't think you guys can imagine how many people send their products for us to sell. In fact, some of the products, like overpriced metals and things with people's faces on them, all that, I've turned them down. So please, keep in mind that if I do, end up being an affiliate with somebody, it's because I truly 100% believe in the company. No one can say to this day, I've had all sorts of trolls. Nobody can say anything about me. I don't do any kind of negativity towards others. And to be honest, every little thing I have actually told the truth on. If we've made a mistake on this show, then I have fixed it. And people honestly do not have jack against us, because we are very transparent. We tell you guys we need to build this, and unfortunately money makes the world go round. With this, I think it's a win-win. It helps us and it helps you. You plug this in and you sleep on it at night, it will help you beyond anything. Inflammation is the basis of all of the different pains that you might have, or at least most of them. And you don't realize how much of a big factor it plays. If you have arthritis, if you have back issues, if all these things, this basically helps with inflammation. If you're sitting there taking 50 Aleve or whatever, ibuprofens a day, give this a try. And, if you don't like it, then give them a call back. marfooglenews.com/earthing. And then, of course, if you use the code MH for Miriam Hemingway, you actually get free shipping with that. And it helps the show. All right. And then, of course, if you want to support a charity, we are giving all of the money from the t-shirt sales to Cars for Heroes is the one that we chose. Somebody suggested that, and I thought it was a great idea. Cars for Heroes helps out veterans that essentially the Cars for Heroes helps veterans that cannot afford a vehicle of their own. So I thought this was a good cause for it. The Marfia shirts is essentially a play on what the trolls were calling us, the Marfia and all this and that. So we turned it into something positive. First off, we've had the Love Mob for a long time, which tonight I hope we actually have at least one Love Mob that we got to do for one of the coolest Foogle Fam members. It's when we basically all mob over to a channel and just show love and acceptance and that. So if you want to get the Love Mob shirt, the Marfia, or the Cut Free shirt, all of that goes towards a charity. 100% of the profits. MarfoogleNews.com/t-shirts. and then we go to the calls. So let's get it rocking. It looks like I don't know who the next caller is. Let's see here. We've got Bones up first. Supposed to have music ready there. Copyright strike. That was I Dream a Genie, by the way. Let's see here. Bam! Already got him on. Bones, you are live on Marfoogle TV. What is going on?
Howdy, Marv.
How are you doing? Can everybody hear Bones? This is the first call of the night.
Can y'all hear me?
Yep, you're good, Bones. Okay, so let's see. You're calling about military planes and movement over Michigan. Is that correct? Or were you in a different state when this was happening?
Oh, it was Dayton, Ohio. So
okay, so you actually put some pictures here for us to show, correct?
Yep.
Okay, so and Bones is a trucker. He's a long haul trucker. So you apparently you see a lot of stuff, I'm sure.
I'm usually regional local. I'm usually dedicated, but every once in a while I get out to other further places. But this was in Dayton, Ohio, on the way back up, and I seen this plane twice, 2 different times. So
now, what is this? A Stratofortress or something? Or is this one of the?
That's a C-5M Galaxy.
Okay, let's see here. Dex, I don't know if you loaded like a loaded picture, but let me say that one more time. I want to show people what it looks like. A C-5M
Galaxy. It's the big, huge plane that the nose of the plane actually lifts up to put stuff into it.
Oh, okay. All right. So I've seen these. This is crazy. Okay, so this is the plane he's talking about. It looks like the front of it looks like the bottom of a shoe or something. So let's see. Look at these guys are absolutely giant. So I guess do you think that was out of place in Dayton, Ohio?
Well, there's the base over there in Dayton, Ohio, northeast of Dayton, Ohio. But I've never seen that plane fly around there, and usually I go around there around the same time every time I come through there. But I've never ever seen that plane come through there.
What I think is funny is the picture I showed of this is like towing. What is this? Cletus towing his horses or something. I have no idea why this pickup truck would be on here. Just a totally random photo that I'm showing, but just happens to be.
There was another photo of it that I gave sent to Dex too. So
okay, let me load this up. Let's see here. Now, when you're driving around, have you seen a lot of these different military vehicles and things going around?
Well, I've seen quite a
I gave you a new link.
Convoys of, well, they were probably the reserves going to do their trainings and stuff like that, but I've seen that. And then I've also seen SWAT vehicles going all over the place.
Wait. Say that again. Like the Bearcat type vehicles?
Yeah. Yep.
And they're driving on regular streets? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, they're actually right on the highway.
Are you like going 60 miles an hour down the freeway?
Yeah.
Can I ask what color they are?
black.
So, do you guys hear this?
There was one black, and there was one it was like a dark army green.
Okay, so this is actually getting to the point where I'm like, this is weird. So if anyone else has experienced it, we just showed you New York had that Homeland Security Bearcat doing its thing, and one person said that it was a Homeland Security thing doing a gun confiscation, somebody who lived right next to it. The other one said that it was an ICE on Twitter. So ICE doing, and of course that would be a good way to spin it, right? If depending on what side you lean, right?
Yeah.
But then in California, you got that bomb scare with the SWAT vehicle. You're saying in the middle of the country, there's SWAT vehicles driving all over the place. I think there's something definitely going on. Like, how would you do a big operation? Probably under the radar. And it sounds like something is going on. So Bones does a lot of different things here. Bones is actually somebody who I've said many times, we need to love Mob Bones. We need to get him to that 1,000. He is not yet to the point where he can stream from his phone. We need somebody like Bones. When he's driving around all over and when he's in that region, if he can't stream something live, then, how is he going to get it on there? People need to go over and love Mob Bones. If you actually go to this last video, 94 views, and leave a comment, I will be showing it during the shoutro, and I'll be saying hi to you guys. So it looks like we already got some new subscribers over there already. Head over, show some love to Bones. Bones has been here a long time. He's a good dude. And he knows his stuff. So make sure to go show some love. Now, Bones, you are probably one of the more prepared people, too. You've got videos of your stuff, your bug out bags, all your stuff. So definitely somebody that people should go over and check out.
Oh, yeah, we're going to be doing more videos on, medical and, we were on West Virginia Prepared Minds with my wife was on her show with our medical kit.
So Bones, West Virginia, all these guys actually team up. They do streams, JStone78, all these channels. We need to go show some love. So we actually are building kind of a group of channels that are all pushing each other up, all being positive, all basically spreading the word of just, let's not be afraid to talk about this kind of stuff. So Bones is one of them. I will be refreshing Bones' channel through to the end. We've talked about this. If Bones doesn't have 1,000 subscribers, he can't go live from his phone. If he sees something like these SWAT vehicles or something like this, we actually need to get everybody in the Foogle family to this point. See, they changed the rules so you cannot stream from your phone unless you have 1,000 subscribers. They did that because of that last event that happened in NZ. So let's help him out. Bones, is there anything else you wanted to say before you go?
Well, I kind of made a little agreement that I would be doing a recreation of Vlad's post in the bathtub.
Okay, I totally heard about this. So Vlad Gruitz is another YouTube creator, and he did a post, and I don't know if we have that photo, but he is definitely kind of a bear of a guy, and he did a post of him in a bubble bath for his community section. So Bones said that if he reaches 1,000 subscribers, he will be making a reproduction of that shot. And the funniest thing you said the other day was that you said people keep requesting that there's no bubble bath or that there's no bubbles. So I would rather there be lots and lots of bubbles, maybe complete. But so let's get them to that. So that's motivation right there for everybody to do it. So let's get them to 1,000. I guarantee you we can do it before the end of the show. He's probably already there. Who knows?
And my wife actually said she'll buy me a tiara for it. So
974 within your call. We are going to hit 1,000. In fact, okay, let's do it right now. I guarantee you we can do it. Let's do one more refresh. This is a milestone for somebody. We can change somebody's YouTube career right here. So right now it is at 974. I'm going to hit the refresh button in 3, 2, 1. And you're going to be number, I don't know. We've helped over 200 channels start, but we've helped over 55 channels get to 1,000, which is a huge thing.
Oh, yeah.
And Zimbabwe 993, 7 more. I'm gonna refresh one more time. There's 7 more, and I bet you we're gonna hit it. Zimbabwe Lion King song.
Awesome. You
got it, buddy. Hey, love you, Bones. Again, Bones is one of the nicest people in the world. He is actually, he says what he does, he says, and he says what he says. And he is one of the greatest mods. He's the most polite, and he really does care about people. So you guys, thank you for helping him out there. And feel free, if you guys are watching the replay, if we want to get him to 2,000, 3,000, 4,000, 5,000, 10,000, go ahead and do it. Again, the good dude. Thank you for calling in, Bones. I appreciate you. And
thank you, Marv.
Get creating, okay?
Yeah, I'm gonna have to tell my wife to go get the tiara now.
Yes, you get that bubble bath running. Have a good night. That was good. All right, so we did our good deed for the day. Boom. Dave, you're live on Marfoogle TV. What's going on?
Hey, what's going on, man?
So, Dave, it says here that you are calling about a genetic modifications mixing plants and humans. And there's an article here calling from Alabama. Dave, what's up with this?
I stumbled across this for some research for a paper I was doing. And basically, I was researching whether or not the premise of the humans being able to assimilate plant cells and how it would be beneficial for them. And I came across this article where they're actually testing on how to incorporate chlorophyll and components of plant life into animal cells. So then that way we can photosynthesize and create our own fuel for ourselves. I don't know if you're familiar with the process of ADP.
I'm not an expert in that kind of stuff, but if you want to tell us.
All right. Let me just get this up here.
Pull up the Googs.
Well, no, I had my whole thing, and then for some reason everything. Okay, so it's the adenosine triphosphate, right? So basically, what ends up happening is you have 2 different processes. Plants go through the process of the reverse side where they take in the carbon, and animals we take in the oxygen, and we create this product, right? This product is then used to make our cells work and create and store do all the stuff we need to live, right? But if we have the photosynthesis in addition to what we take in via calories and whatnot, we can better sustain ourselves in harsher times, or if there's times that there's less food, or let's say there's a famine, or there's a variety. It also lengthens your lifespan significantly. And the way that these interactions work, they also carry out toxins from your body, carcinogens that cause colon cancer and whatnot. So, I mean, it's crazy to think about, but if you read this article, you can kind of get it's like a lower level biology perspective of how this could work. But it was really interesting, and I wanted to, because I heard you talking about the chimera thing yesterday. I was like, well, what a better chimera than a plant animal chimera, right? You remember
wouldn't that
watch South Park?
Wouldn't that be less scary though? I mean, we're talking like Swamp Thing type thing. I guess I would rather be blended with a plant than a pig.
Well, you ever hear of South Park, speaking of pigs, right? right? Either man, bear, pig.
Yes.
What about plant pig man?
I guess it.
So, you know what I mean? So we have all these things, and yeah, that's another thing. It could be scary because what are the ramifications of it? You know what I mean? So there's a lot of things, and that's why the only thing that we can do now is we can store some of the chlorophyll, right, temporarily. Like our cells can store it temporarily. But I don't know how to pull this up for Dex because it's a medical journal, and I would have to go into my library and find it, and probably have to email it to them. But there was another thing I was reading, a medical journal, where they were integrating an algae plant cell into a fish embryo in vitro, and the fish embryo actually took in the cellular components and incorporated it into the cell. So then thus you have a plant and animal vertebrate with chlorophyll to help sustain it. But it didn't last long because the pigmentation of the fish ended up outweighing the the chlorophyll and the photosynthesis stuff. But in the earlier stages of the fish's life, it was able to sustain it. So that would mean humans would have to be translucent or less pigment in order for this to work, or it would have to completely take over our pigment, which would be the reverse of the melanin aspect. You understand what I'm saying on that end. The melanin is what protects us from UV. So instead of us having to be protected from UV, we take in that UV and not have to worry about it. If that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't know if I lost you there.
No. I'm thinking, if you take this, do you turn into a clear fish? Either way,
yeah.
Then you get to ask, do you like fish sticks?
Yeah.
If we're going along
but it's
with
interesting,
the
right?
South Park thing.
We can use this to produce food, right? I mean, we can use this to create better products, right? And maybe incorporate this in the animal life spectrum in farming. That way, it's less animal feed. You catching me on that?
Yeah, no, I get what you're saying. So you're saving animals, and you get to use plants instead for a lot of this, right?
Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy because it's not a liberal thing. It's not like a left wing thing. It's probably not even feasible at this point. It would take evolution to probably kick in to do some of the work. But it is interesting to think about how it's not only are they thinking about growing organs inside of different animals that are human organs in different animals. They're thinking about merging humans with plants so then that way we can live forever.
Well, I think we're going to see things like this. I covered something about 4 months ago where they were talking about a certain cell found in a plant in Africa that literally could be the key to never-ending life. And then the only thing they couldn't solve is the brain would eventually die. So your body would look healthy and young, but the one thing they have not solved yet is that Alzheimer's, the brain still gets old, and that tissue is not the same as everything else. So now they're trying to figure out, that's why they've been talking about uploading your consciousness into a computer and then bringing it back into a different brain. This is all stuff that they're really talking about. So pretty messed up.
Yeah, and that's actually funny because I covered that too in the paper about the brain aspect, how, some of these tissues, while they can get some of the benefits of the oxygen and other things, there's things that they can't adapt to, like the it's going to need oxygen, and you can't do the anaerobic reactions. You can't do those light reactions. You can't switch those roles for the human, some human organs to be taking in carbon instead of oxygen. That's kind of an oxymoron to how the body and physiologically works. So yeah, you're right. There's some things that can help us, but then again, if we become too
just create more
dependent
problems
on it, it can hurt us. Yeah.
Yep. And
right, so sorry,
we'll just need other solutions. Well, hey, thank you for calling, Dave. I appreciate you, and I would love to hear from you again. Your last call was great. This call was great. Thank you so much for calling in. Okay.
work and school stuff, and it takes like all my day. And literally, but this is the first time in a while I've been able to call in, and I was like excited.
Well, by the way, and last time a lot of people said for your age, you're incredibly smart. So thank you so much for calling in, Dave.
Well, yeah. Well, you know, my professors actually said my last paper I wrote, they said that my last paper was that of like a doctoral thesis, and I'm not even finished with my graduate school. Yeah.
So, by the way, we need more people like Dave, you know, getting into this kind of stuff, debating it. We need some of these very smart people that are actually going, you know, people think that it's all dummies that are doing this. There's doctors, lawyers, people getting their graduates, their master's degrees. In fact, we have a couple people in our mods, incredibly, you know, actual well-trained, smart, beautiful people. So thank you, Dave. We're going to get on to Renee Thomas after you, but I appreciate your call. You have a great night. Yeah. Be safe, be prepared.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
All right,
later.
Dave. Later. Bye. Up next, we have Renee Thomas. Renee, you are live on MARFOOGLE TV. It looks like you are calling tonight about the Norway opens up for nuclear-powered Allied submarines. What the hell's up with this?
Yes. How are you, Adam?
Good. How are you, Renee? Let me pull up the article for you. This is out. So you obviously are kind of responding how I talked about Norway and all of this, the nuclear subjects. It's pretty weird. Yes. Okay.
It is pretty weird. And the most interesting part of this entire article, I will say, is in the very last part of the paragraph. And it's only because it tells you that the presence of international submarines in the waters outside of Norway have tripled, according to the daily newspaper of the Aftenposten. And I mean, you can read the whole entire article if you'd like, but that part of it was the most interesting part to me. I mean, not that, you know, there's not enough information, but that really jumped out at me.
I'm actually going to go right to it. No, that's so. Wait, and it's outside of where? The number
Norway.
has tripled. Okay, so it says, meanwhile, the presence of international submarines in the waters outside of Norway has tripled. International submarines has tripled, according to the daily newspaper Aftenposten, in 2018 alone. 27 port calls by U.S. and UK nuclear-powered submarines were registered in Norway. Wow.
Right. Is that not crazy?
That is crazy. And just this year, I told you guys, things are going way hotter right now.
Yep, they are. They definitely are. It's I don't know, it's crazy. Everything is crazy over there, that's for sure. And up there, I guess you would say. The North Pole, South, North Pole.
Now,
and
go ahead.
That's it.
So I've got some other articles that kind of connect to this that I'm gonna pull up here. Renee, good catch on that. Again, I just talked about Norway and how Norway is. They prepare their people. They talk to their people. They're very honest. It's not like here where we might not find out about something until afterwards. Norway has talked to their people about iodine pills, about nuclear disasters. They've done some simple training. We had a Norwegian resident, which actually a good chunk of my family lives in Norway. Most of them I've never met, but these guys all talk about how well they are informed about these things, because different places, different cultures, they're totally different. They're like, you know, why would we hide something if it's a possible harm down the road? You know what I mean? Like, should we, you know, people say they're protecting us by hiding things, right?
Right.
But are they? Are they protecting us by keeping things confidential? They don't want us to panic, right? But what if they slowly eased us into the truth? That's what I don't get.
It's crazy. You can, I think the sheltering part, we're not babes. You can tell by the way, the craziness that we have going on, throughout the United States, period. I think that more than 90% of us could handle it, but who knows? I mean, we're fighting over chicken sandwiches too now, so I mean, it's kind of crazy. So,
well, Renee,
give and take things.
Is there anything else that you wanted to say before you go?
Yeah, I also had another article. The next article it's from Sputnik as well, but it's U.S. plans to deploy powerful. I'm pulling it up. Powerful invisible weapon worldwide, media reveals. Now, this article you might want to read, but I think that this kind of it gives a little bit more detail into this biometric dragnet type collect data stuff that's going on, and it makes extremely plausible the lady that called in last night about her California driver's license picture. It really does shed a lot of light towards that to make it a viable scenario. So I don't know if you have that article or not yet.
Yes. So it says the U.S. is actively deploying, quote, a largely invisible weapon. Now, when I first read that and we were just talking about submarines, I'm like, that's largely invisible because it's underwater. But it's actually talking, It says, around the world that will increase the lethality of the U.S. armed forces. A massive biometric dragnet. So isn't biometric like fingerprints, irises, facial scans? Wouldn't that be where we're at with that, right?
Yep.
And it says that collects data on millions of people, including American servicemen and their allies, as well as suspected terrorists in active military zones. The media outlet 10 reported, citing materials disclosed under a Freedom of Information Act. So this is under FOIA. They have something that's largely invisible. Do you think that this might be related to those towers in New York, these weird camera things? Do you think that they're placing like secret scanners and sensors, and then they're using also what's in our phones, the fingerprint sensors, all that? Do you think that that's what that is?
I think it is. Yeah, I think it's all interconnected. But if I'm not, if I did not read, I read the entire article today on my channel. And if I read it correctly, it even says that they can attack you, I guess you could say, or through this system. But they said that the only thing, the downfall to this system is that it's hard to detect Black females. Now, why that persists a problem for them, I don't know, but that's the only downfall. But it seems like I read on there somewhere where it said that that they can actually use this against the military themselves, lethality in their operations. I don't know. This
is something extremely interesting, and you know how we've covered those stories about the fashion designers that are designing shirts that look like license plates, so they can hide from facial recognition, because facial recognition, those cameras will pick up that shirt that looks like a license plate and it will think, oh, that's a car, don't look at it. So people have actually done this. They've done weird camouflage things that look like items that turn off the cameras. In China and in different countries. This, I mean, you're going to end up seeing people walking around in blackface because they don't want this system to pick them up. So I'm guessing that this was not something they wanted to really get out, but the Freedom of Information Act kind of pulled this out, and now it's out. So who knows? I would love to hear them talk about this ABIS. It's called an Automated Biometric Information System. is indiscriminately vacuuming up biometric data like images of faces, irises, fingerprints, and DNA data on individuals anywhere that U.S. troops are deployed, the outlet pointed out, stressing the privacy concerns arising from this fact. So this is something that I don't know if we've seen yet, but this is where they're deployed. So what if they deploy in the U.S.?
Right.
That's creepy.
Yeah. That is creepy. I mean, and do they consider a deployment, these training sessions that they got going on, you know, here in or not here in California, but in California and elsewhere? Are those not deployments in essence, especially when they have other countries coming over to you know, do these exercises? So I would say that that would be a deployment here in the United States. I could be wrong, I mean, but I think it's rather interesting to look at all of this to see where they're going and how it can be used against the military or anyone else for that matter. And I'm sure that they're using it on us. I mean, it just makes sense. Why would they use it against the military and not against the rest of us? It, you know.
What I want to know is what this is if it's a physical machine. Is it something that's put on a truck, or is it a utilization of what we already have around the country, the cameras? What kind of connections we have in other countries? Because this is something they're using overseas. So is this a satellite? Right. Is this a space weapon? Is this, you know, basically what came out through a Freedom of Information Act is a largely invisible weapon. I'm super fascinated by this. Thank you for bringing that to our attention, Renee. I also pulled up your channel. You were at 1.06 thousand. We also helped Renee quite a bit ago. You do your own show. You do all sorts of different things. Again, right. You guys got to go check out Renee. I love this thumbnail, by the way.
Which one?
The one with the Earth with the blinking eye.
Yeah, wasn't that pretty cool?
I actually super cool.
Nuclear. Yeah, I was going to point out that in that article about the ABIS, it also says that the ABIS databases can also be plugged into a custom-built military mobile device, so they can also hook it into somebody's telephone or their, you know, I guess it has to be a military mobile device, but nonetheless, knowing that it can be so mobile, you know, is kind of crazy.
Well, thank you for calling in, Renee. I appreciate you, and make sure to go check her channel out. It's RENEA Thomas, THOMAS. We will also check in the shoutro to see how you are doing. She's been a part of the Foogle Fam for a long time. You've always been awesome and loyal. Thank you so much for being such a sweetheart. And you do a great job on your show. So make sure to go check her out. Again, this is the Truth Factor, Renee Thomas's channel. Please call in again when you find this kind of stuff. Last time, didn't you call in last time? What was the last article? It was about that drill, right?
Yeah, the drill, and the Navy sending ships at one time to Iceland or somewhere up in that area.
And you also were the one who caught it was the drill with the sea command, which it was like normally one or two ships, and it ended up, but it was all of them. Basically saying that they were about to ship all the tanks, everything. It was about to be war, basically. I don't know what happened. Right. That was only a month ago or so. So we still don't know what's about to happen. So thank you, Renee.
No, we
appreciate
don't.
You.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much. Give a shout out?
Can I give a shout out?
Of course.
Can I give a shout out? Okay, it's to Boho's Info. She called in on my show. She said she can never get in through to you, and she had some awesome stuff on her channel, and I just wanted to give her a shout out.
Oh, no problem. I think this is what the promo channel. I thought that it was the same thing. Is this it? Let's see here.
I'm not sure.
Boho's Info. 252 subscribers.
Yep, and she says she always watches, and she's tried to call in a couple of times and hasn't had any success. And so I told her the next time I got in, I would give her a shout out. She has a theory on the California fires that I thought was pretty interesting. So we played one of her videos on my show, and it was pretty good. Okay, well, we're going to check it out. This last video is California Alert Update. Is the California fires a Gov or PGE cover-up? Ooh, interesting. I'm going to have to check this out. Again, that's Bohos Info, BOHOS Info. Thank you, Renee. You have a great night, and God bless you, okay?
Okay, God bless you. Thank you so much.
All right, have a good night.
Bye. Bye-bye.
Dex, she always finds really great stories. Let's see. Hello, you are live on Marfoogle TV. What's going on? Road to prison.
What's going on, brother? How you doing, buddy? You all right?
Good. So let's see here. Let's see. Just pulling up your card real quick. Julian Assange intel, his early background. What's up with this?
Well, excuse me. There's rumors. It's all alleged. Obviously, you can't say whether it's confirmed or denied. But there's rumors that Julian Assange is a child of a cult that was led up by a woman named Anne Hamilton Bird out of Australia, and the cult was known as the Family. And it was a real weird cult.
Now,
how did you back in the day with the Santan? Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Wait a second. Are you talking about the Family, like what they talk about now? The Netflix movie that just came out about the religious Christian kind of family that is very powerful in the elites.
No. It's a cult. It's like kind of like the Jim Jones and the Kool-Aid Kids type of stuff. You know, that Jim Jones, the cult leader that back in the day. It was right around the time when there were all the satanic panic stuff and all these cults were popping up and they were being exposed. It's not the elite thing, but I could be wrong. I don't watch Netflix, so you may be onto something there. But yeah, it was busted up and raided and disbanded a couple of decades ago, maybe probably 30 years ago or more. And yeah, Julian Assange was allegedly one of the children that was in this cult.
So you're saying there's this creepy picture. They almost look like the Children of the Corn with like what's his face? One of the Beatles in the back.
Right.
No way. What? Well, there's only one boy, or there's two boys. Oh my gosh, is one of these boys Julian Assange?
Yeah, that's what they're saying. And all the children were their hair was dyed blonde, and this lady, this wackadoodle woman, her name was Anne Hamilton Bird. She was convinced that she was the reincarnation of Jesus Christ, and that she was raising these children where they were adopted, and some of the kids were questioning about where they got them. She claimed that she adopted them. She claimed that some of them were her own children, but there was rumors that they were stolen, that she kidnapped these children, and there's all kinds of weird stuff around it. And
this is one of the scariest photos I pulled up. Man, this is like the creepiest photo. They're all wearing
also
these
photos
turtlenecks
in the screener.
Right, like Children of the Corn stuff, almost. But yeah, this woman was convinced that she was Jesus Christ, reincarnated, and she wanted these children. She ended up with like 28 children, and she was brainwashing them all, giving them all LSD, like big time, and that she was convinced that she was creating a new race of kids that would grow up and go out and save the world.
Oh, she looks creepy.
Oh yeah, she is.
She's got Sendoku eyes.
What's Julian Assange doing? I think that he's trying to kind of save the world. Kind of weird, ain't it?
Oh my gosh.
And,
do you think he's really blonde, or do you think that that's something he kept over from the early days?
His cult days? I don't know. There's another thing too. It's all weird stuff. You know, this is all alleged, and I don't believe that there's any actual proof. I could be off the mark, but the stuff that I know, anybody can look it up. You know, her name is Am Hamilton Bird, and you know, many of mainstream media have done, you know, exposés on her and interviewed her, and the FBI here in the United States is the one that kind of brought her to the light. She went from Australia, and she'd bring it here to New York, and ended up in a city called Hurleyville, New York. And I'm pretty sure that some elite have been known to be in Hurleyville, New York, and yeah, she's been known to. There's some ties to yoga too, which, you know, anybody that knows about yoga knows the evil and satanic side of it.
I didn't know that. I never knew that. I don't do yoga, but I've never thought there was evil involved in yoga. But
oh yeah. There's not high impact flicks, but it's there's a channel, I forget her name. She did a big story on yoga, and yoga is really some really creepy stuff. There'd probably be some people in chat would talk about that. But this woman would abuse these children, you know, to the point where she would take a high heel stiletto shoe and beat them with the point, you know, and things of that nature. And then there was things where she would do like water torture, and she'd take a bucket and stick the kids' heads in the bucket and force them to admit to doing something they did or didn't do. And like if a kid was wetting the bed, you know, you would get tortured and beat for that. And just all kinds of crazy stuff, man. And then, you know, it's been going on for a while. And then, yeah, it you know, supposedly he's associated, but when you think about Julian Assange and, you know, what's he doing? He's sort of trying to save the world, kind of what she was doing, trying to raise these kids to do that.
What if what's even creepier? What if something he did, or he got killed or something, and then he flipped his like dead man switch that they talk about, and he revealed like the entire truth of the world or something? And what if she was meant to like raise these kids to change the world? I don't know. There's just so many weird things. There's a whole other level. That's a LSD trip in itself, but you know what I mean.
That's right. It could be the two sides of the coin. It could be the heads or tails, or it could be the edge. You know, he was accused by the Swedes for committing rape, which may have been a ploy to silence him and lock him up. And then he sought refuge in the Ecuadorian embassy, and he's been there for 9 years. And then, you know, he's involved in, you know, which is connected to the Seth Rich murder, where he, you know, or I guess you could say robbery/murder for Seth Rich, when he was allegedly, he was working with the DNC, and he supposedly, you know, connecting the dots. Seth Rich was the one who leaked or stole the information from the DNC, and then he passed it off to Julian Assange. You know, and then you notice that everything in the WikiLeaks, anything that they've ever released has never been debunked as bogus information. Nobody's ever claimed his information's bogus. The only things that they are mad about, the elite, for people he exposes, is how did he get it? It doesn't matter how he got it. You got to look into the stuff that's within the emails, especially with the DNC, like John Podesta, you know, and all the elite with the, you know, the Pizzagate and all the code stuff that's been going in the pedo world. You know, it's all associated. And he was more than likely, if he was in that cult, he was abused sexually too.
So somebody said, and I wanted to point this out because this is somebody I'm assuming is from a different country. Let's see. I don't know they're probably from outside the U.S. Because they referred to us as the Yanks. It said like LMAO. You Yanks always love your conspiracies. I'm paraphrasing what I can remember. Let's see here.
Chat?
I want to find it. Yes, he says Robert Johns, and I am not. this isn't a bad thing. He says, LMAO, you Yanks love your conspiracies. Here's one thing I want to say about this with, say, Epstein, right? Epstein did not kill himself. With Epstein, right?
Well, where's the funeral?
By the way,
where's
people.
The funeral?
Well, let's get. I don't want to get off topic, but this was one of the most prolific, unbelievable men in our time. Dealt with all of the most highest up elites, and he had a ring of 12-year-olds coming into his private island with all of these symbolic. People are now saying. They're going to test that island. By the way, what if there's people buried on that island? They had an ambulance. They had all this other stuff. They are protected, even though he is supposedly dead. Even if he was dead, would they protect that island then, and not let anybody do any kind of searching on the island? I think they should be digging up the island, but that won't happen because there's presidents, princes. The thing is that what I'm trying to say is, it says, that we like our conspiracies. We talk about them.
Not a conspiracy.
Some of them are, but the fact is, even normal people are waking up to the fact that when you have so much money that you don't know what to do, you've got all the material objects you could possibly need, they get into some really screwed up things. And it's gone back all the way back as far as humans. I mean, we're talking about not normal people. These are people absurd. And then trickled down is messed up people like this.
Well, yeah, you're absolutely right. The thing is that, we could be on here and talking about this for a long time. I'd like to mention a couple of things that is associated with this, because this is really some hot topic information that's in the mainstream media right now that people are being deceived in many ways. First of all, Jeffrey Epstein is in, a federal lockup in Washington, D.C., awaiting his case. They announce on television that, he's attempted suicide. So they put him in, and all the details behind it are sketchy. They put him in a suicide watch cell. I personally know what a suicide watch cell is about because, obviously I've been to prison. Before I went to prison, I was punished by the law enforcement for, they locked me up to shut me up. So they put me in a mental health ward because they claimed that I was going to commit suicide for my likelihood of a conviction. So I spent 3 weeks in a mental health ward under suicide watch. There ain't no way that I could have committed suicide in that county jail, let alone in a federal lockup, and all the things behind it. So first of all, he's never had a funeral. Anybody heard about any funeral arrangements for Jeffrey Epstein? There's so many ties to it. We can go on and on and on. And it'll just lead right back to the elites and hushing people up. You talk about Julian Assange, you can talk about Edward Snowden, but when you talk about Julian Assange and people, in these, and I hate to mention it because people get upset, but the Q, it's not the Q movement. It's not, it's not real. Okay. It's a psyops, whether it's just a regular psyops or it's a double or triple psyops. Nonetheless, people think Trump's going to help this situation. Excuse me. T-Man's going to help this situation. I'm sorry. I apologize. T-Man's going to help this situation. Well, he's not, because that is proof positive that, in my eyes, if that man right there has all this dirt on everybody and he can bring down so many people with the information that he has, why wouldn't he be protected? They're going to try and bring him here, extradite him, and charge him for what? For exposing the ones that are doing the evil in the world. So I don't believe one bit that the T-Man is on any one of our sides. I don't do politics, but that's proof positive to me. So when Jeffrey Epstein does this, and now Julian Assange's father is saying that, he's at risk of dying in custody.
I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying here. Well, or it's kind of a symbolic, like he's saying he's going to die and then actually kind of calling it out like Julian told him to say that. So maybe that's a signal or something. I don't know. It is kind of weird. You think maybe he's triggering his real kill switch or whatever. Well, RTP, road to prison. Is there one more thing you want to say before you go?
No, man, that's pretty much it. Like I said, we could be on here forever talking about it, but
by the way,
it's a very interesting subject.
Where did you get the R2D2 you sent?
I got that at the Motor City Comic Con. Went back about, I don't know, 8-9 months ago. I bought it for you because I remembered that you know. Anyways, I bought it because I knew that you would probably dig it.
It's one of my favorite things in my office now. Well, thank you so much.
You can put your weed in it.
If I smoked, but that would be. I don't know though. It's not airtight.
Well, that's an old Saturday Night Live skit. You could put your weed in it. So, but no, man. I hope you digged it, and you know, I thought I'd seen it, and I thought about you, so that's why I got it for you, bro.
All right. Well, well, thank you for calling, and always a pleasure. You have a great night. Stay out of trouble. Okay. Be positive. Push each other up.
I'll try.
All right. You have a good night. Bye-bye.
All right. Good night. Bye.
Up next, we have it's Wesley, the I-7D Manhattan. Dang. It's Wesley. You are live on Marfoogle TV, calling from Kansas. What's going on?
Yeah. How you doing, Marf?
Good.
You used to be a neighbor of mine up there in Washington. I lived there for about 12 years working for Boeing. How are you doing?
Oh, in South Park? Did you live in like that neighborhood?
Yeah. Well, I worked in that neighborhood right off of Henderson Street. I say that because that's my last name. But I did. I worked in the design review on the 737s and 747s and the 767s.
Were you on the other side of the bridge? Were you on the other side of the South Park Bridge before it got changed, or?
Yeah, I was there when the bridge was being rebuilt, so I had to come around from the south.
Yeah, that sucked.
I came over there.
I was living there then, and you had to drive all the way around. I was doing trucking then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I'm trucking now.
So you wanted to talk about
trucking now,
working on planes and what you saw. So you're saying that you might have saw something that might prove that they are doing something up there, and be careful with what you say.
Oh, well, yeah. Oh, I know. We'll talk about those sea trails, you know, and we could be talking about the ocean, but we're not. We're talking about the contaminations, you know, that they're putting up into our breathable space, otherwise known as air. I worked in the design review process up there at Boeing for several years. I'm an expert in CATIA and several other CAD/CAM programs. And you'll ask yourself, well, why are you driving truck now? Because I have to get out here and tell people about what I know. And I know a lot. I'm just now driving through the town where I got my bachelor's of science in physics. Wichita, I went to school and received my graduate degree there from engineering, for aerospace engineering, and I worked in several places all the way through Boeing. Well, the last job that I had when I retired from Boeing at 45, it was more of a forced retirement than it was anything else. They didn't fire me, and I didn't quit. They forced retired me because during some of the design reviews with the big tanker that they're building for the refueling the jets, I started noticing things that weren't quite right and started asking questions like pressure tanks. They don't fly those planes with pressure tanks to refuel jets. They had pressure tanks. Pressure tanks are used to push other aerosols out into their airspace. I started asking questions about nozzles and many other piping systems that were going through the wings. And everybody told me that's above my pay grade. And I'm like, well, I've been here almost 20 years. I don't think it's above my pay grade to be asking these questions. And if I had a system like I had up there, I would be able to send you pictures of what I captured. But the system that I had is proprietary to Boeing, and I'm not able to have those pictures on a computer to be able to send them to you. Otherwise, I would. And if I ever get to where I can get like actual screenshots,
well, you understand, people are not going to. People are going to say that you are making it up, that you're fibbing, all this. And I know.
They've been telling me that for freaking years, man.
I can't. Exactly. And one thing I do believe is that is happening. and I do believe if you did have access, you wouldn't have proof to show because they're extremely. This is one of the most prolific cover-ups of our time, in my opinion, and this is all supposed, right? So I wish
this is true. However, I've read papers from Harvard. Where they are. You remember that last caller you were talking about how they softly bring us into, this is actually happening. Like when I'm talking about engineering, I'm talking about what they're doing to the globe, and you could call it geo something. You know what I'm saying?
Well, here's the thing. You could come out with if you could at least prove that you did work there. Like if I would help you too. If you could prove not only you worked there, that you worked there for 25 years, that you have whatever degree you had.
It was 20.
And again, if you can even prove that you retired there, just whatever you said, I think that's enough for you to go public and for people to listen. You understand? Do you think? I mean,
yeah. Well,
I would help you.
What I'm doing right now.
I would put it on both channels.
And at the same time, I could get you a video of a gal that used to work in the Air Force, because these planes that I'm talking about, 1 out of every 4 planes that were built to be a tanker in the 767 program, 1 out of every 4 planes had this system in it. And the gal that Richie from Boston, he put this gal, he played her entire videotape. She's come out in public and does actual public speaking. I've seen this woman do a public talk about what she saw while she was in the Air Force, working in the MSDS portion of the Air Force, which is your material systems that they have to discover all the chemicals that they use. And she started asking questions, and they shoved her out of the Air Force after 9 years of service. I was shoved out of Boeing after my 20 years of service. And I'll tell you something. It's serious. They've actually written papers at Harvard as to what they're doing to our planet and what they're doing to our atmosphere. And this gal that I'm telling you about, that Richie from Boston has put out there, he just put her entire speech on his channel.
Do you know Mike Bowler? I was asked to ask you that.
Mike Bowler? Mike Bowler. Does he work over there? That name sounds so familiar.
I don't know. Just somebody said to ask.
It almost sounds like
that would help you prove it. I don't know what it means.
Mike Bowler. That name sounds really familiar because I might be having him mixed up with another guy I worked with up in Everett when I was working up there too. But I know a lot of people that work there in that engineering department. I mean, I've trained hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people. And I mean, I've got proof that I've worked there. I've written manuals. I've still got copies of manuals that I wrote that they used to train other engineers on. So I mean,
I would like. Here's the thing. No, and that's you know what I'm saying. Thousands of people. We get calls all the time, and people scrutinize my show. They've even accused me of paying people to call. So like on something like this, I would totally help you if you had the stuff to back that up. At least that you don't have to have the smoking gun. You at least, as long as you can say I worked there for 20 years, that's basically putting you. But there's not that many people that will put their name on the line saying, "Hey, I worked here for 20 years. This is what I saw." Somebody else said, the Kristen, the one woman put her name out there and got it out there, and everybody, said it. And a lot of other people are saying, well, now we know it's true. The thing is not a lot of people understand that they are talking about it as geo, blah, 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 engineering now. They're actually saying it.
Right.
They're saying it out loud.
Yeah. Yeah, they've actually got papers written from Harvard, doctoral theses that were written from Harvard. I've read the dang things. That they're doing exactly what they say they're doing. And I've been watching this for years. And everybody says, oh, those are just persistent blah blah. Well, that's the falseness, the erroneousness of the actual aircraft. Because I have the other things that I know about the propulsion systems of these jets. They don't use as much fuel as they tell us that they use. Because if they use that much fuel to fly, you'd see a stream of trucks going into SeaTac Airport 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and you would never have a way of getting into the airport for all the fuel trucks that were going in there to fill those aircraft up. I know some things about that too, that I started asking questions about. And the jet engines do not need that much fuel to fly. They seriously do not. They're almost a perpetual type of engine. They need a little bit to start, but they use mostly compressed air to start. So what are the tanks and the wings and the belly used for? And why are they putting these pressure vessels inside military aircraft when usually the jet fuel is held in a bladder? And anybody that's ever been in a tanker plane, they know that that bladder is in that plane to help refuel the small jets that are in the sky. They do use a lot of fuel because they have such small engines, small jet engines. But the big jets, they don't need that much fuel because they have such a huge intake fan compressed down to a small area. They create their own thrust based upon how they compress that air from the intake fan to the tail. And man, we could sit and have discussions about this for hours, and I know I don't have that much time. So,
well, I'd like to talk to you off air. I would love to. I think this would. I would love to talk to you about that, especially since you're from the neighborhood I used to live in. I'd just like to.
Yeah, I lived in Gig Harbor. I lived in Gig Harbor up till a year ago when I found out about Dutch sense.
Yeah, when you lived there, did you have the tsunami warnings and all that?
Oh yeah. The Gig Harbor is a little bit more protected, but I've been out to ocean shores several times when a tsunami, event, not an actual event happening, but a warning happened, and everybody started heading for the cliffs, and I'm going, do you guys even know how those cliffs were made?
Do you know the Gray Gull?
Swim, yeah.
Do you know the Gray Gull in Ocean Shores?
What?
The Gray Gull?
No.
It's one of the hotels on the Maine. The Gray Gull is one of the main hotels in Ocean Shores. It always has a board that they put. They put the board with like Mrs. Happy Anniversary, Mrs. and Mr. Johnson or whatever. I've stayed there before. Yeah. Yeah, a really nice hotel. Not sponsored. If they would give me a free room for one night, I would say them every night. They're very nice.
Oh, yeah.
But somebody took a picture.
There's a restaurant.
Go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, you go.
There's a restaurant over there called there's a restaurant called Galway Bay over there in Ocean Shores. That Mickey and Maggie are two puppies that I bred 5 years ago. That are they're Irish setters that are the Irish setter dogs that are the mascots for the Galway Bay. It's an Irish restaurant and pub.
So you know exactly where I'm talking about. That place, the Gray Gull, they put one of them. They had to house it. Somebody took a picture and sent it to me last year when we were covering this. The FBI, CIA, Homeland Security, NASA went down to these towns when this asteroid hit off of the coast. Do you guys remember this? Dex, dude, I don't know if you were.
I saw that. I was still there last year. I saw the thing come through the sky. I watched it come through the sky out there on the coast. I watched it. I was out working on a house out there on the coast, right there near Tacoma, and I actually saw it pop into the sky and leave a trail. It wasn't like what we're talking about, the sea trails, but it actually left a smoke trail in the sky. It popped in. I sat and watched it, and I told all the guys that I was working with, "Hey, check this out." And they're like, "What the heck is that?" And I said, "It's a meteor coming into our atmosphere right now." You could see it from the coast.
So what was crazy is FBI, all of them took over, and the Gray Gull always puts up a poster. It always puts up the little sign that says, welcome this, welcome that. They said, welcome government agents. And somebody sent me a picture of that,
right?
Because the people the people that own it didn't know. They were like, "Wait, who? FBI, CIA, NSA? They got all of them." So they just said, "Welcome all government agents." And this thing is crazy because they shut down the whole town. Like they came, all the locals sent me stuff, and they said there was a restaurant that serves pancakes there, and it was completely full of men in black suits and ties. And these guys were from NASA, everywhere. And this, I called it, guys. I told you guys last year when these guys came in and took over this whole town, that this was the same time the University of Glasgow, I think I'm saying it right, the Glasgow, said that they are trying to, that they said that they've figured out how to get an asteroid not big enough to hurt anybody, not small enough to disappear, just big enough to land and to mine for this rare stuff, right? They said, we figured out how to direct it right into Earth, right? And everybody's going, whoa, 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 whoa. What if you screw up? Then all of us are going to die. What are you doing? And then right around that same time, this hit. This thing came off there. They took over the whole town, and it was the creepiest thing ever. There's still something about this, and I tell you guys, when we cover news like this, I remember and I go back to it because we've connected all the dots. There's going to be something that connects, and this is around the same time as Sunspot too, by the way.
Yeah, that was right at the middle of July last summer, not this past summer, but the summer before last.
Yeah.
And my buddy Doyle that owns the Galway Bay, he's the guy that owns the two puppies that I bred. Shout out to Doyle because he's one of the coolest dudes I ever met out there in Ocean Shores. Several of them. The guy that owns the kite shop is awesome too. I used to love go out there for the kite festival that they have every year and fly those fancy kites. You know, the steerable kites.
Oh yeah, and the little weird rentable bikes and all that. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I've got several pictures and things like that. I start putting on the videos and things like that from when I was living out there. And you guys are always talking about the earthquakes. Well, when I got turned on to Dutch Sense, and he started telling about these earthquakes that are getting ready to hit up there, man, I looked at all my friends and said, guys, we got to get out of here. We got to get ourselves back to inland. And they all laughed at me, and now they're all seriously talking about it, and they're calling me up saying, what do you know and how do you know it? I'm like, well, guys, I listen. I'm on the road, 11 straight hours a day, every day, driving my own truck. I got a couple other trucks that are out here making money with me, and we see things and we talk all the time. And we listen to your show, and we listen to John B. Wells, if you know who he is, out of Dallas, Texas. Hey, John, I hope he's listening to you because he tends to. He's told me he does. And there's several things. I mean, really. I'll call back in. I've got several topics that
I would love for you to do so, and
your listeners.
we might be able to talk off air. I'd
love it.
Enjoyed to get to know you.
The Marf love to my channel, so I could do some live stuff because I see some stuff in the Army bases that. Well, I'll tell you what, they're ramping up for something, and I don't know what it is yet. And by the way, I spent 6 years in the Marine Corps, so when I start talking about military stuff, I know what I'm seeing. I know what I'm doing.
So
I was a missile technician in the Marine Corps.
He just put the channel here. Sorry, I didn't see that earlier. This is It's Wesley, the I-70 Mad Hatter. This is who we're talking to. This is the gentleman. If you guys are questioning his legitimacy, you guys can be a judge for yourself. This is It's Wesley, the I-70 Mad Hatter. So there you go, and we'll check on you during the shoutro as well. Go over and check him out and be a judge and character for yourself. 230 subscribers. What you guys should do is head over and show some love. And then again, if you guys are doubting or if you questioning, I always say use your gut. Go over and get a sense. Watch some videos. Show some love. And that's how we do it. Well, thank you so much for calling in, man. I would love to talk to you off air. Yeah, we can talk about that later. Okay?
You guys have my number. Call me anytime.
All right, we will. All right. Have a good night, Wesley. All right. Bye-bye.
Hey, thanks a lot, Marf. I'll listen to the rest of the show. Bye-bye.
All right. What do you guys think? I mean, do you think he's legit? I mean, he looks like he could have a pass in this. And like he said, why is he driving a truck now? I know plenty of people that have worked for Boeing that are doing all sorts of things. My mom, my dad, my grandpa, my grandma worked for Boeing. My mom worked for Boeing before she worked at a carnival, for God's sakes. She worked loading, kids into frickin' rides after that. And she was working as a, Rosie the Riveter. She was an engineer. So, I mean, like, you can go from engineer, and truck driving is actually, if you own your own truck, something like that, that's actually more lucrative than some of the positions at Boeing. So I can't verify what he says, but I would love to talk to him and find out more about this, because it's crazy. Dex, man, you heard that, that's kind of a claim, right? That's a claim.
Yeah, that is. He sounded legit. And it's real easy if we talk to him offline and he pathway.
You cut out there. Sorry about that.
Oh yeah, no worries. I said, yeah, he sounds really legit to me. If we want to talk to him offline, or if he wants to put something together to try to tell his story and improve where he worked, that's actually really easy to do, because these big companies like Boeing, they use an online service when you're doing employment verification, and you can actually do that and show your past on there. It's real simple to do, provided that he wants to do it. So would be easy to do, and it sounds like he's got some really interesting information to share. He's willing to put that out. That would be fantastic.
Well, he's already almost up to 350, so that's awesome. A bunch of people went and showed some love. Yeah, other than that, we've had great callers tonight and every night. Dex.
Yeah, very good.
Just everything that's going on. Do you have any announcements? Because I know that we've got so many projects working right now. Like, it's crazy.
No, we've got a lot of irons in the fire, right? A lot of things going. Some things we're hoping to do is to get improvements on the website around how we're showing our own schedule and how that's working. And then we've got, we've got the other channel that we're working on, and I think you mentioned that we want to even do another one beyond that. So, yeah, lots of things going on. We're doing a lot to help expand and grow this platform, the Marfoogle News, and what we're doing with the Foogle Fam, and how we can get more information out to more people and get more people involved. So, really exciting things coming, and really thrilled with everything that's going on.
Well, I can't say enough. So we're trying to build infrastructure. We're trying to get some things together to be able to help more people as well. Like, actually, we are trying to set up something so we can genuinely help people and have a system set up so people can help themselves. I guess we're not trying to. There's some stuff that we're not going to talk about yet. But I will say this: we have honestly tried our hardest, and we have put so many hours into this. I had an almost hypertensive crisis. I was 3 numbers away. They said, you're 33, you should not be almost having a heart attack. And I had walking pneumonia. Somebody said, oh, I can't believe, all these people are still your fans after you took a weeks off or whatever. Just so you guys know, the week I was off, I was in the hospital. So I appreciate all of you guys that, didn't say things like that. Even if I wasn't sick, if I took a week off, it's like, you guys, it's a free show. No one is required to pay for this. We spend a lot of our time trying to provide help for people, trying to get their channels going. I can't tell you, Dex, how many hours do we help other smaller channels that we don't even talk about, just make intros and things like that, and teach people.
Every free hour we have is, which is not a lot, but all we have is for the fam and for the channel. It's not a full time. It's like a lifetime.
If either myself or Dex has helped you, make sure to put it in the chat. I don't think people realize this is truly almost like an 18-hour a day thing. So I appreciate all the help from you guys. I appreciate all the support. Now it is officially time for me to make a fool out of myself. It's not a shout out, and it's not a outro. It's a shoutro. It's where I make a fool out of myself and say all of your screen names in 10 minutes or less or more. or -5 or +15. We will see how it ends up working out. I really, really appreciate each and every one of you, and I hope that you all have a wonderful night. Be safe, be prepared, and Marf out. Oh yeah. Got the reverse not flow. Bring it right back. Got the woo woo, got the John Nelson, got that Luna salt and the Reba Snowfall, DD rules and the equine pepper, got that Venus Flago, got the Brian Woodring with the HHO and the diamond foes. Bobby, gotta eat it like a calico, Phil Billy and the Billy-O. Now the ice razor, got the Papa's High Bay and the Homestead. Got the divide E-Lock going on D-Lock. Now we gotta go and we go. We spot like Star Trek, like Patrick Stewart. I was bald before the Rogaine and the Death Wish. And the Ian Cole and the Flat Roof with the No Day. And the Road to Prison and the Mr. Family with the Tambra Smith and the Jennifer Gill beard. We do my stuff way. Gotta get it down with the what say. Susan Donahue with the Galaxy. I gotta eat it with the fencing Nan guy. And the Wee Johnson, Kim Keller. And the Kim Walton. All hanging out with the Teresa K and them killers. James Kessler. And hanging out with Mr. Weller. One hit chick in the construction of everybody. Gotta get down Amy Sitaro. And the Angela Big Buggeroo. Tiger, got the LCJC family, Lexi with Dex and the Ice Hellraiser. Eat it right back, and now we gotta share you. Wondering Foogle, Susan Big, Renee Thomas, and getting that jig. Jim Viggs and the Whiskback, and the Mark Warner, and the Wide Awake and Angry, and the Andrea Little One Tyler, and the Nancy Fan Guy Wire. Are you going down the street with Calamity Rain and the Dennis Fly go bang bang? Got that snap for snaps and the Sharon M. Got that Angel Cotita and the Small Stone Jim. I wish, I tell you what, and I wish I could tell you, Brian Woodring, I would go fella, and Miss Gregorio, I see it, I know, ooh, yes, yo, yes, you gotta go, yes, you know. Summer Alice in the sunny garden and the cabin shack. Ginger Green, I never found you. I got that Griffin Walker and I just wanna go back to. Gotta be Kaz and the rest of the man and the Kathleen Soldier and the Felt Betty and the Shirley Gray. John French. Got a Twisted Tats and a Triskin Lamb. Got a Gloria White. Gotta eat it back like the Angela Little one. Hey, now gotta go back and we running. Gonna go back now, they be gunning for the Patrick Lee and the Mrs. Fitz and the Pandora 22808. Got a bully for me, Sheriff Tyler. Got a shit line in the ride. Remember, you can go to marfooglenews.com to see any of the articles that we showed here today. Thank you, Catherine Willie. It wouldn't be possible without you. Trails, Darlene B, Jstone78, Jennifer Ackerman. It just wouldn't be possible without you. Yaz Warrior and Betty Sue, Lynnwood Dex, and the rest of you. I tell you what, we gotta go down to Danger Jr. and so Lisa Marie and Panhandle Preppers, Sunny Garden, and the rest of the Greckers. About to go down, break some records. Robin M and the KT uniting me. Trinity, Red Bill, Blue Bill, Hi Ho, Kermit the Frog here. Sweet P11 and David Messer. Hello, Miss Sir. D-Check, Amy Sotaro, and the rest. Gotta eat it up with the EMP and the CME, T Dilla, and the James Pistner. Oh, gotta get that D-Check. Gotta eat it in Wheat Fest. Go hang with Snafu Snaps and the rest of the CJ Blaze and the Superman Sweden. Yeah, got it right. Going right back, now we gotta go fight. Got it time and go, so down the hill. Got a woman, wonder. Hey, Skywatcher83. Adam, you are just awesome. That's all I have to say. Thank you. I appreciate that. Verone Cassie. Thank you. Bob Hope has subscribed. I thought you were dead. Superman Sweden. Thank you for 20 sec. I don't know where that's from, but I appreciate it. A1F, thank you for subscribing, and as always, if you subscribe during the show, you will get a shout out. Tony Henry, love what you do and the Foogle Fam, and keep up the great work. Well, thank you, Tony Henry. Amazing Baby, Norway Dream. The other night, it's on the 444 Prophecy News. The Body and Bombs, Mike M. Maybe that's Mike Morales that he's talking about. Shauna and Shirley Graham. Jennifer Gilbert and the man that brought my Bring It Right Back Blue Alien. Oh yes, it's all about the rib curl. FC Slayer and that Libby Hoy. Robert Neal. Gotta get that able body. Smash or possibly slightly depress the like button. Depress the like button. And Betty Sue, thank you for watching. I appreciate every single one of you, including one god, Great Nate. I appreciate. I don't hate. Gotta bring it down. Gotta see me now. London 93245. Gotta bring it down and a crystal pistol. Oh, it looks like Neil Nelson missed the show. I guess we are going to have to start over. Apparently, we've just got to do the whole thing again because John Nelson was late. That's amazingly great. Thanks a latte.
You want to know what's going on? What?
I'll just keep pushing buttons until it starts working. I was pushing buttons till it started working. Hey, Danish girl. Hey, Elaine, right? Tiffany, Harmon, and the rest of them fine. Don't you go and fight Mr. Faboli. hanging with me Sally North and Mountain Man, and I shout, yeah, God. Summer Alice, Sandra Martin, and that Sunny Garden. I've got the Whitetail 7, the Jenny Patton, and the Amy Sotaro. Hanging out with everybody, see you tomorrow. Gotta carry Ray, and that's just what I say. Then the John Nelson, what his normal weight is. Got the Angela, Arliano, and the rest is history like Darlene B. But old Ryder says, hey, let's go say hi to TT. Dillard and Shirley Graham. I got the Richard Rach with the Simi Sam. And if they really wanna go smoke, then they get a gram. All that good weed, cause it's legal out here, man. Hey, Patrick Lee, how you doing, man? Got that CJ Blaze, better go hit it, man. Guys, Warrior, you go smoke with the Phil Hill for who? And the Whitterfoot. Walks with Crow. Walks with Crow. Walks with Crow. Rise Weaver. I wouldn't be able to do it without you. Thank you, Brian Woodwing. You just sent 2 hugs and 2 kisses. Thank you. I appreciate that. From one man to another, that's actually the proper amount of hugs and kisses to send a man. If you went XOXOXO, that might mean something different. Congratulations to Bones on the 1,000. Thank you guys for being here night after night, and especially for spending your Friday night with me. Looks like Renee Thomas is at 1.12 thousand subscribers, so thank you. Over 100 folks went over and subscribed. Volcanoes are scary. Thank you for hanging with me, Capital. Gotta bring it back on down. Back on down. Back on down. Hey, Ryan Alter and that Bobby Ed. Angel Catita and Mr. Ed. Lavinia Carson, that's a new name. I've never seen that one before. Megan? What a crazy name. I've never met a Megan. Elizabeth Coles, aren't you the queen? Patrick Lee? What in the world is going on here? Letitia? I think I said that right. What is going on here? All of these amazing names. It's like, what in the world's going on? It's almost like it's just some sort of crazy thing going on. Hey, and if you love to be yourself, then make sure to go start a channel. make sure that you show love to all the Foogle family members and stick up for each other. Amazing baby, thank you, appreciate it. Carrie Turnbull, thanks Marf and Dex for everything you do. You are appreciated. Much love from Australia. XOX. Jamie Martini Franklin, great show. Thanks Adam and Dex. Pray up family. Dax Ryan, thank you so much. Madden AZ, does he know make parlor? John Bell, thank you for subscribing. Jeremy Hill, thank you for subscribing. Neil Nelson, Adam, sorry I missed part of your show. And For Real Woman, I think that's how I say it. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Thank you very much. I just want to walk down the street and meet my lady and lordy. Oh wait, maybe it's Lord and Lady. Got my 3-day grace, I've got my calamity rain. Got my able-bodied and I've got my space. Got my Sheryl Lynn Smith and my CJ Blaze. Couldn't do it without the Johnny Benny. Gotta get that Siri, gotta get that Siri off that phone and get myself a stiletto. Speaking of stiletto, apparently Julian Solange Lozenge was beat by his mother, the cult leader, with a stiletto. Isn't that odd? This is Marf 105.4. And we're gonna Marf it up all night. You might see some names there you recognize. That's because we're so important. I see Hellraiser. Yeah, you know. I see Hellraiser. Yeah, you know. I've got that ginger grin, and I've never walked past him, but Glenda Snyder walks with Crow, Darwin B. and Stargrazer now. Got to get that Tracy Hannah. Catherine Willie says, Christ be in you all. With him you will never fall. You will never fall. Access through Christ says, knock us for a loop now. Like Lily and Aralano. Got that Peggy Sue Frary. Got that Christine Leha. When it gets so hairy, we aim reefs on down the street. With that scaredy cat, we've got that Francisco Bandera. Got that Randy Newman. I've got that John French. I've got that Rhea Ho. I've got that Angelica Christie. I've got that Nancy Hall. I've got that Minuteman JB. Now, you know the riot all to want to sue Peggy Sue Farron. F3 Slayer, CCG. Don't know what he did with me. Jenna Pata. 3 days grace and a few bad days. Brandon Lay got to see that way. Got that cash machine. I've got to bring it back round. Without fail, with a fail. We gotta sit where we share. Gotta sit with the real. Have a wonderful night. Everybody used to bang it back.
People say, don't overthink what's happening. We're jumping in with the sleigh. We fall in love with everything. We never sleep, no. We're never gonna sleep, no. We're gonna stay up, way up, long as we're together.
By the way, of course, I wouldn't end the night without me for me. And then we're out of here. Yeah, no. It's a 104.5 Marvin, yeah. You got to have fun now with the Marfoogle family. Yeah, see. I got my girl Karen Reed over there hanging out with all the rest of the family. Don God John Frenchman, you're the man. You got this there here smoke or sleep with the boys. I like yes. Oh, I like me for me. Hi. I like the Danish girl. Yes, I do. I've got the Lexi with Dex all over the game. Oh yeah. I've got the Ginger Green and Amina. Oh yes, a singer. Gotta go with the rip girl Lamonia. Hey, don't you wanna say something? Don't you wanna say just a little something? Hey, G, don't you wanna hang out with Bolly for me? Yeah. Oh yes, you know. It's about time that you smile on your face. The Appalachian stacking, you know. The Appalachian stacking, you know, tear. Better Georgia like for me. Got that Sarah Goldie. Gotta eat it back now in that Goldie. Go to your white now. Alright, in order. Banana prepper. And them chairs, light it, don't hide it, and you go like that fire now. Yes, you got got that down. You gotta bring it down now. Everybody got that angel and Alice in and it song. You saw everybody. Got that Alice in White now. Got that beat of boom. Got that Tiffany Harmon. I bring you lots of love. Beautiful mosquito. Got that Mata. Now you bring it now. Not for the official song now. This is the last song and now. If you want to go support us and go do it. Yeah.
Sam, I'm feeling free. The dolphin in the sea. Rolling in the waves. Floating with the breeze. Got my sunny shades on. Play my favorite song. Thankful for the charm. Life rocking in my phone. I ain't looking for attention. I don't need the extra tension. Cause I'm in the fourth dimension. Trapeze high in suspension. Now don't bother with the haters. Cause they all be imitators. Real life manipulators. Get fit back up and see you later. I like me for me. I'ma be what I'ma be. I like me for me. I am who I wanna be. Don't need no apologies. Just peace and serenity. No to the jealousy. Wonder Woman identity. I like me for me. I like me for me. Head over heels. You know how that shit feels.
You want to know what's going on? What's really going on when it happens? Go to MarFoogleNews.com and get Marfoogle alerts along with a Discord invitation where you can find your local state group and get together with the Foogle Fam. You'll find fast friends where you'll share prep and intel, and there's even special groups for former and current military. But don't try and steal the valor of those who have really served. It won't go well for you. The Marfoogle Fam is waiting for you.
Oh, that's funny, man. Someone has a lane right says, is this a normal night now? Yes, this is a normal night. Hi. She says, normal night. Yeah, I could see how this for a new viewer would be super weird. This is how the Foogle family rolls. Yes, they do. The only news show that sings you to sleep. Still 1,700 in the chat. You crazy Foogles. Yes, you are. You have a wonderful night. Spellbound Rose looking, Alfred Phillips. And welcome Elaine Wright. You've got a lot of like-minded people surrounding ya. Let's go Sleto. And let's let off some steam. He's like the truther version of Ellen. He wants to get everybody dancing. What a weirdo. Is he a lesbian?